For the first time again in a long ass time. Three,
Three,
two,
2, 1,
and
and boom. Boom. What is up? I'm gonna get right after it because JR is salivating. He's got some food to get into. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to season dose of PS Comics I Love You, the official pop culture podcast of KRP Broadcasting. I am coming to you once again from the undisclosed Shield location somewhere here in the greater Coachella Valley. And yeah, we've made it through vacation, through hiatus, through through lawsuits and all kinds of crap over the last 3 weeks.
injury. Oh my god.
Injuries. We'll get to that story here in this episode. We're going to tease that
Oh god.
and all kinds of stuff. If you have forgotten, I am. Well, actually, you know what? No, I don't go first. He does. He is the Dark King. He is JR Cabacungan, the man who it is always arm day. That's why he's got the guns. Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah,
So
I know, man.
he is JR Cabacungan.
How
What's
is
up?
everyone doing this fine Saturday evening? I'm currently in the bus with my favorite gal at the moment. Well, she's awesome. Ratcatcher, of course, man.
Oh,
So,
she was a great character.
oh, she's awesome. I loved her. She's the great. She's
We will.
she's the greatest thing in the movie too.
Oh, yeah, we will get into that.
Saying something.
We will get to that because we won't we'll talk about that. We made a little. We'll throw you guys a little curveball here. I'm Kevin Pillow, the voice of reason at voice of reason 23. Oh, by the way, JR Cabacungan at also not JR Comics 42, the home of the hottest comics in the Coachella Valley and the internet. He's got stuff coming soon for an eBay listing near you. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm watching my CLZ Comics app like I watch my Fidelity app and my stocks. Because boy, oh boy, it is going up. I'm going for 70 grand right now. So yeah, and I don't have much invested in this collection. So I'm just printing money right now, but
yeah,
I'm not in it for that game. I'm in it for the love of the game. And you can know that by going back into season 1, by the way, into our archives, anchor.fm/PS Comics I Love You. Find us on YouTube at Voice of Reason 23. We've got our own YouTube channel going to launch probably, who knows when, maybe this season, maybe next, who knows. But yeah, you can find us PS Comics I Love You on all social media accounts except for Twitter. It's PS Comics I Love the letter U there at the end. PS Comics I Love You at gmail.com. And of course, you can search us out on all podcast platforms. And like I said, as well as YouTube. Again, for those of you who are joining us for the first time and you're here listening to us here in season 2, thank you so much. Again, we got so much stuff. Subscribe and all of that old content will compile for you. But JR and I were on a 3-week hiatus. I went on a vacation that if you want to check out some of the pictures, head on over to my Instagram account at Voice of Reason 23. Got a bunch of cool stuff I posted, including a visit to the largest comic book collection in the world. That's right, Mile High Comics. I finally got to go in the shop. It was everything I lived up to. My next stop, you guessed it, Midtown. That's where I want to go next. I want to head back to the island of Manhattan, check out Midtown Comics, but I think that's going to be somewhere in the I got to pay off this year's vacation. But like I said, JR we'll tease it throughout the episode. We'll get to it in a little bit because JR also had an eventful hiatus, but we will get to that. But we're going to get to some news and notes. We're throwing you a curveball. We told you we were going to talk about Black Widow. We kind of are still going to talk about Black Widow, but not the positive side of Black Widow that you were hoping, where we were to do a full watch-along review of Marvel's latest and greatest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We are going to talk about our main topic today. Is going to be both the Suicide Squad, which came out over the weekend, and we're going to talk about the Black Widow lawsuit. So we're going to get to that. But before that, we've got news and notes. JR has feverishly been working on this the last 2 weeks. He actually trimmed it down from about 7 pages to 3, and he's still got a lot of content to get to.
Yeah, man.
So great job once again on our chief writer, JR Cabacungan. But I want to get right into it. We're going to get right into news and notes. And I want to talk about this because I think this is going to be a bullet point with our pop culture crowd and gaming crowd. It is safe to say that Pokemon Go, which has kind of been my bread and butter when it comes to gaming, has been in the news the last 24 to 48 hours. Let me get you up to speed about what is going on. First off, Hear Us Niantic, hashtag Hear Us Niantic, was trending worldwide on Twitter. It reached as high as number 2 in the United States. Reason being, over 100 content creators for Pokemon Go banded together to fight against Niantic. Niantic is the developer that the Pokemon Go company hired to develop the Pokemon Go app about actually 5 years ago. It celebrated the 5-year anniversary this summer. What they are rallying against is one feature that has been removed from its gameplay. Now, let's rewind to the spring of 2020. So I know it's a period of time that probably most world citizens would like to forget. That was the front end of the world pandemic with COVID-19. Knowing that their game is 99.9% spent outside, walking, enjoying the world and its surroundings, and interacting with other trainers, they needed to change the game drastically. Added a lot of really cool new features, including the ability for what they call Team Rocket grunts to come to you via a balloon that would hover over your character, so you can remote raid Team Rocket grunts. There are also sponsors like Samsung, Google, Starbucks, and others that have sponsored other balloons that would drop in-game items such as potions, Pokemon balls, and other things that help work in the game, help you progress in the game if you're not able to go to a Pokestop, which is of course a location throughout your world that you spin in game, and it gives you different items that you need: potions to heal your Pokemon, new Pokeballs, incense to attract new Pokemon, and so on and so forth. Well, the other thing that they add was remote raid passes. This allows you to remotely raid gyms throughout the world on an invite from your friends list, which is pretty cool, actually. So if JR was, say, back in the motherland in the Philippines, and he's like, dude, I got this really cool geo-locked Pokemon that's over here in the Philippines, I can invite Pillow to come over and raid over here at this cool art fixture in Manila, and I can remote raid and beat a Palkia or whatever it is, some geo-locked Pokemon. And cool, I got a Pokemon that I don't have to go to the Philippines for, that I now have back here in California. Kind of a cool feature. That feature staying. The biggest feature that they're arguing about is the radius around a Pokestop. Right now, it's about, I think it's about 20. I think it's like 20 feet basically. And in the game, if you're driving by or walking by and you're within 20 meters, I think it's just 20 meters, no, not 20 meters, 20 feet of this installation, this Pokestop, which of course is connected to a physical in-world. So like when I was on the road, I went to the St. Louis Arch, which is the big gateway to the Western Gateway Arch. That had a Pokestop, and it's right on its geographical mapping location. And in the game, I can go boop, spin a Pokestop, boom. Well, I only have to be within 20 feet of that mark to be able to spin the Pokestop. Well, under the pandemic rules, they moved it back to 60 feet, if not even further in some cases. So really kind of cool. And it became very keen in the game because people didn't want to interact with each other. They were still a little timid about, even with masks on, to be around people. And so people really enjoyed this. The other thing that people noticed was an uptick of rural players that don't have access to Pokestops, and they could drive into town and easily grab Pokestops. Also, people with social anxiety, autism, and other, for a lack of a better term, disabilities that keep them from joining large crowds. And it really increased the popularity of this game with that group of people, those trainers. Well, Niantic said back in November of last year that there were going to be some changes made in 2021 as the world began to reopen. And they said that one of the features they were going to keep was this radius around Pokestops. Well, that changed again in June of this year when Niantic, in pure black and white, said we are removing the Pokemon radius from 60 feet back down to about 20 feet. And that has had the entire world on fire. And actually, I completely forgot they were making that change. On like the last 4 days of my vacation, we began to notice that. And I told my wife, I was like, oh, yep, forgot that feature was being removed. And really and truly, it's the only feature, real big feature from the COVID rules that's being removed. And so you're seeing a lot of Pokemon trainers that are like, hey, look, listen, your training or your trainer population has blown up the last 5 years and probably doubled in the last probably 18 months, gaining new fans, new trainers, because they previously were kind of shunned by some of these socially awkward rules. And so that's kind of lit these trainers on fire. And the other thing too is there's been a lot of things that Niantic has done. And Jerry, you and I have talked about this before, and that is the pay to play. Pokemon have been locked behind paywalls. Now, I am guilty. I will throw myself under the bus. And yes, I have paid, which I normally have said I will not pay to play. But in these instances, there were, it was a pay to play, but there was so much more that I got out of that financial transaction than just a added Pokemon. And yes, I have spent money on the game, something probably I normally would have not done, but it's a free game. And normally I think a game like this, even mobily, probably would have been like, what, $5-10, but Niantic made it free. So I feel a little bit more not so jaded about putting money into it. And also Niantic, when early on in this game, talked about how much money they donated to different charities from their intake from Pokemon Go, as well as the spinoff Harry Potter game, which of the similar kind of gameplay schematics, I guess you'd say. And of course, their original game, which I can't think of what it's called now, but they have 3 games that are kind of the similar ilk, where it is AR plus. It's your augmented reality, so to speak. So, but that's my take on it. And this will kind of tie into the a little bit with the Black Widow lawsuit. Is normally I'm on the side of big business and side of the company. And with Niantic, I'm like, it's their game, it's their rules. They can do whatever the hell they want. They don't have to listen to you. And there has been like other content creators, like I'll make some shout outs here. Trainer Tips. He is very business-like, made this like, hey, listen, screw you. We need these fixes. Like they need to be, they need, this is why we should keep the Pokemon Go, the Pokemon Stop radius. And very business-like though. Other trainers like Pokemon Master Holly, who's also a very popular trainer, has been a little bit more aggressive and basically called out some of her fans that are like politely saying, I disagree with you, Holly. This is why. And she's basically said, fuck you. And then there's guys like Mystic 7, another content creator shout out, is he's saying like, hey, I see it both sides. Okay. Yes, you're right. The socially awkward, the socially distant, the socially handicapped, this distance rule kind of helped them gain something that's brought a bright spot to their life. However, if these content creators and the internet loses their shit and goes, we need this, and the way they are, some of them are being business-like, some of them are being pitchforks and torches, being assholes, saying, fuck you, Niantic, this is what we want, give it to us or die. Mystic 7 was saying, if they cave and do this, where does it stop? The slippery slope of game developers, because then they're going to go like, they're going to light the torches and carry the pitchforks on something else to the point where the game is 100% free, doesn't make them any money. And Niantic goes, well, what's the point of making this game? you know, we don't make any money off of it. So um, that's kind of the start to the news and notes. There's this
Yeah.
Pokemon Go event.
Yeah.
And again, you just have to follow, you don't have to go too far. Hashtag hear us Niantic. Find it on Twitter. You can, if you get a little bit
Yeah.
more opinion, but that's my opinion and kind of the stance that I've heard on it. So
Okay.
JR, you have family, your sister is a Pokemon Go trainer, not as
Yeah. I mean,
into it as in years
yeah.
past, but
Yeah. And she actually, funny thing you say that, she just got done raiding for like a good 4 or 5 hours because, granted, she's gonna be working again,
yeah,
and that she's just enjoying her time off right now. So yeah, she can do whatever the hell she wants. My take on this then is that I'm kind of I'm the camp of like consumer first type of thing, right?
yeah,
Where granted, yes, it's a free game, but but understanding where they make their money, they make the money from people using their servers.
yeah,
They use the servers, and so if there's a constant, if you have 3 million people on daily, you're making money, period, because they're using your servers, they're using your database, they're using their data for your servers. That's generally how it works, specifically in the mobile gaming space. When you're doing that, and yes, you can make a lot more money doing putting the microtransactions, right? It's not that different. And I understand the slippery slope of like, oh, we should freaking bully the companies till to the point where everything is free. I'm gonna just say that right now, that's never gonna fucking happen, ever. It has yet to happen in it has yet to happen in like in in the major gaming space, right? And people will say, well, what about Battlefield, right? Yeah, they've been bullied. The game's still out and people are still playing it though.
yeah,
And there's still microtransactions. It's just that it wasn't as horrendous as it once was. And from what I'm hearing, Battlefront 2 is probably the greatest game on EA right now, right? Playing wise and looking like a fucking masterpiece as it is. I never had any I never had any problem with the sense of like how beautiful it fucking looks and looks amazing, right?
yeah,
My take on this is that like for me, I kind of harken it to like when people first start up a store, right? You start up a store and you have your steps up to it. Only body people are coming to your store, Well, what about the handicap? What about those who are injured? Okay, make a handicap ramp. Kind of same thing for me.
yeah,
And like I get that people are saying, well, you don't need to fucking play the game, but in a sense of like if this is a way for people to connect, one, if you don't do it, it's up to you, but it's a bad fucking look.
yeah,
It is a horrendous look because in today's age where information is so instantaneous, like here Niantic Heroes, right? Hashtag anything can be bullied out of existence, yes, but for a business to fall where the slippery slope tactic of like, oh, we'll just bully them until we just get what we want, it never ever fucking happens. In the way, in the sense that you think, right? Like, oh, like you think that Niantic would give you money to play the game. It's never gonna fucking happen.
yeah,
Never. It's never gonna happen. If anything, the server is just gonna close down. If that's the worst of it, that's the worst of it. It's just gonna but the thing about that is that no one, it's never gonna happen because guess what? There are still fans of Pokemon that are willing to play it. And I like the whole influencer take on this now has been a raging debate for the last, like, I don't know, since the inception of the term influencers, right? The
yeah,
amount of people putting eyes onto a certain matter or subject, whatever have you, right? And it happens a lot in the gaming space too, where you have a bunch of influencers, they gravitate to one game more than the other. I get that, I understand that, and I will always back the people who are wanting to have more people enjoy the things you love. I will always back them, right? If they are genuine in them wanting you to enjoy what I enjoy, what you enjoy, great. Let's bring those people in. And I feel like I don't. Again, I'm just gonna say that I don't know the full details of this subject. I don't. I've never fucking played Pokemon Go. I'm not gonna try it. I don't care for it. I'm the original 152, 151 type of guy, right?
yeah,
I'm the original OG. Okay, maybe a little bit of silver, gold, and Diamond, I think it was, right? Yeah, silver, gold, silver. No, like silver, gold, and something else. The second generation Pokemon, right? That's just
Uh,
it to me. I
yeah,
just don't like for yes, it should be the effect of having people who are, more socially awkward, more, socially, and that is not a good word, but more so not socially handicapped or
yeah,
even handicapped in general. Yes, absolutely. Make it easier for them because they're fucking enjoying your game and most likely paying money for your fucking game too. If you pay money for something, right? If there's a lot of that, a lot of those people, they're your market as well. That's
yeah.
for me. And
Give me
like
some. Okay, go ahead.
but and as in for like, yeah, the people who are fucking, all pitchforks and stuff, yeah, there's always gonna be those fucking people. I'm one of those people. And on certain topics, I'm super passionate about. Hello, motherfuckers. I loved CD Project Red. I loved fucking Cyberpunk. Hello.
Yeah, we know.
Pitchforks, pitchforks and fucking throwing stones are my damn thing at this point, man.
And for Cyberpunk, it's been, I think it's officially now been 13 months.
Close. It's
Think
no,
the,
it's almost not yet. It's almost been a year this December. It's been fucking
well, no, I'm
close.
just talking about like we've been talking about Cyberpunk
Oh,
since I think since quote E3 2020, which was early June, but
a small little fucking segue, man, or a little tidbit, motherfucker. I've been trying to fucking play this game. So I enjoy the game for a good few hours, and then I realize how much I fucking still hate the game when it crashes on me.
oh, the
I
worst.
en- I enjoy like cool, 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 and then I realize, oh yeah, that's right, this game is still fucking shit, and they haven't fixed it. Fuck, why am I playing it?
Mother effers.
But yeah, but
Well,
onwards to the topic. I think you
just
had a couple things on hand. Go ahead.
yeah, just real quick to kind of put a bullet point on this topic about Pokemon Go, and we will definitely talk about it more. But real quick, Niantic did respond with a memo last night saying that they are going to address that single issue. I know some Pokemon trainers did not like the response; it was a cop out. But the one thing that they have done in the past, when Niantic says we're going to look into an issue, they legit do look into an issue and do finally reach back out. The other thing too is that they lost their director of community involvement, which is basically the voice of the many. I can't remember what her name is, but she resigned from a position about 2 weeks ago, probably saying like, hey, this is they're gonna riot, this is not gonna end well. And so she resigned. Real quick, some statistics to go along with how popular this game still is. Though it peaked in 2016 when the game launched with 232 members or trainers, it did drop to 65 million users in 2017, a fraction of what it did at its launch, but has since resurged in 2018 with 147 million to 2019 with 153, and then now back up into the 160s, and probably nearing 200 million here and back in 2021. I know a lot of fans that have gone back to the game with stuff like GoFest virtual, which is another really cool feature they've added. GoFest, usually you'd have to go to an event kind of like a Comic-Con. You'd get exclusives, both in-game and physical swag. Now it's remote. You can play GoFest anywhere in the world. And it looks like that's a feature that also is here to stay. Revenue for Niantic through Pokemon Go alone was just shy of $1 billion at launch in 2016 with $830 million. It dropped to $580 million in 2017, but went back up to $810 million in 2018. In 2019, it knocked on the door of a bill. And in 2020, $1.2 billion in revenue. And that is just absolutely insane. Again, it also surpassed 1.1 billion downloads on all platforms. I believe it hit that number it hit the billion download mark in 2019, reached over 1.1 in 2020. Yeah. So some statistics for you. Yeah. On Pokemon Go and how popular it is kind of coming back.
It's definitely popular. That's the thing here. Like, I'm all for putting the consumer first in a sense. Like, they're a big fun. They're not the small. They're not the small guys, dude. They're huge. They made $1 billion and they consistently made near $1 billion nearly every single year they've been out or close to it. Like it's not a small company. They'll be fine, and they'll be fine even after asserting all of these, all these things that people who have paid them to do. Like it's yeah, cool. People are used to it having whatever feature it was. Just keep it on. People are still gonna pay for this shit. And what the great thing that they did was add that was the pass. What was it called, Kev?
Remote raid pass.
Yeah, the remote raid passes, right? Because I remember when it went like early when they first came out, right? Maybe a couple of months into, or maybe almost half a year into it, people were hacking the game and were able to go anywhere to find the most prestigious Pokemon.
Yeah.
But good on Niantic to say, all right, then rather than cancel that, we'll monetize that ourselves and make it free for everybody, or make it a price point for everybody now in order to do that.
And it is reasonably priced, and you can actually get remote raid passes as in-game rewards for free. So you can play this game well, free to play. And you're not going to quote, not like, what was it, Battlefront? Was it Star Wars Battlefront? That was just like, you could not.
Horrendous.
You had to, something like you had to spend like $1,600 to be able to beat the game or something like that.
It's like,
it was something stupid.
It's something like you can, you put some incredulous amount of money over the $60 entry just to buy the fucking game, right?
Yeah.
And put all this fucking money in, or you spend like 1,600 hours grinding the game to get like one Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. It was some so fucking horrendous thing. Yeah, it was stupid.
Let us know in the comments below what you think about the hashtag Hear Us Niantic crusade. We'll definitely continue to follow this. It's a pop culture product. Real quick, another thing that we did not add into the news and notes, and I completely forgot about this, JR, because there are two guys from Colorado that are a hell of a lot richer this past week, and you'll never guess who they are. Matt Stone and Trey Parker just signed nearly $1 billion deal with Viacom CBS, $900 million to make 14 new movies and continue one of the longest running television shows in the history of television, especially Comedy Central. That's right. South Park, I believe that they're going to 2032. Is that what it was? Or something? It was something stupid. It's 2027. 2027. $900 million. Now, in context, JR.
Yeah.
15 years ago, South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, went to Comedy Central and said, "We're fucking done. We're so burnt out with this show. We have peaked. We have done everything that we can do. We're done." And so Comedy Central, Viacom said, "No, you're not. You got a contract." He goes, "We will break our contract. We will pay you to let us go away." And basically Viacom made it such a pain in their ass that Matt Stone and Trey Parker were like, "All right, guys, let's do this. Let's be as obscene as possible, and they'll have to freaking throw us off the network." And that's what they did. They went over the line intentionally to get thrown off Comedy Central and just be like, "Oh, thank God." And what did Comedy Central do? Well, first off, they looked at their ratings and went, "They're doing what? And their ratings are what? Pay them some bitches." And they got paid. And then Trey Parker and Matt Stone went, "You're gonna pay us how much to be assholes? Okay, we're gonna piss off Tom Cruise. We're gonna piss off." I mean, they ran off what's his name, Shaft. Early on, but $900 million, bro. They are gonna do 6 more seasons at least. Insane. 16. What did I say it was?
16 movies?
14 new movies, including one that is coming out this year. Now, mind you, the pandemic episode, which was a special for CBS All Access, I believe. No, it was on HBO Max. I think it was.
Was it?
It was one of them. One of the platforms. Now, mind you, South Park is a Viacom product, so it is exclusively on Paramount Plus now,
Mm-hmm.
as well as on Comedy Central. But I want to say the pandemic episode. I'll have to do some research of what platform it was on when it came out last year. I think it won an Emmy,
Really?
which yeah, or at least I know it was nominated. But no. I mean, South Park is just absolutely killing it, and with
Not surprised.
with these streaming platforms, the old episodes, it's just like Friends. HBO Max is streaming Friends, and they stole it away from Netflix, and Netflix was paying like $1.5 billion for
Yeah.
streaming rights for Friends. So yeah, this is crazy. Almost $1
Yeah.
billion to Trey Parker, Matt Stone. How nice is that, JR? Could you draw basically what is it, construction paper characters for the next 6 years for $450 million? I'll split it with you. I'll split the 900.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. It would be. It's weird coming from this point because for me, yeah, I would definitely fucking do that. But just thinking back of like, I thought like season 20, I think, or season 19, I forgot what it was for them. I thought that was the last one because they were going freaking crazy during that season. Like they were pushing it, super pushing it out. Like I thought they were gonna be, that's it, it's done. They were going out with the craziest shit. They jumped over the shark so many freaking times. I'm like, all right, this is it. They had like so many musicals episodes already, and then I'm thinking like, all right, this is a end of season, end of series, end of whatever type of thing. And here you go, like, no, man, money is the root of all evil. But here you go,
24
and
seasons.
7 more years. I'm like, damn, bro, that's crazy to me. Or yeah, seven, at least 7 more seasons. That's just crazy to me, bro. Like, damn, money is really be like that. Like the greed can be really be like that because I remember hearing a bunch of their things of like being so burnt out, so like unmotivated to do this, and so like not fueled because you see the one passion that you loved, and you see it now and how it's so fucking manufactured and horrible and horrifying to look at, and what it's been made into being this fucking consumerist cash grab bullshit. But granted, like, yeah, but money is everything, I get that. But like when for guys like these guys, like they've been paid anyway, they're millionaires already. And that's crazy to me, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
I
damn, man.
think it was right around season 10 because I was looking at season 11 was in 2007. My
Yeah.
brother's a massive South Park fan. Obviously, with two kids, he can't watch as much as he'd like to, but I know he still follows the guys, and I know that Matt Stone and Trey Parker are both huge Kings fans. My brother's a big LA Kings fan, so and of course they've licensed the characters, especially Cartman, to the LA Kings for the Go Kings Go chant. And but yeah, it was just, I think it was like right around season 10, they were like, dude, we're fucking done. And that's when they literally were like, they told Comedy Central, they told Viacom, we're going to piss people off. You're going to get
Yeah.
so many phone calls. You're going to get so many emails. You're going to have people out there with torches and
Yeah.
pitchforks. They're going to want to throw us off the air. And then I remember they did a whole special about how South Park was made. And they would talk about how it would get loaded up onto these servers via like a Betamax kind of tape, like a cart tape,
Mhm.
from their studios, wherever it was. And it would get downloaded. And there was like, okay, guys, for us to air at 10 o'clock on Comedy Central, it's got to be like in our server bank by like 9 o'clock or something like that, like, because it's going to take about an hour to download. And they would literally, like, there was this one episode, this behind the scenes where they uh literally putting the tape in at like 9:01, and they were like, oh my gosh, we just barely made it. And then I think they did like a radio interview about that behind the scenes and said, like, how come you guys cut it so close? You've been doing this for 10 seasons. He goes, dude, we were sitting on our asses for like 6 hours. We finished that episode like at noon. We were just being assholes, and we're oh my gosh, we have to load it. Like, we just finished. Like, they told them they intentionally were trying to do shit to piss Comedy Central off to get thrown off.
Yep.
And so yeah, I thought it's hysterical.
No, yeah,
And
I actually remember the episode where they had the fuck counter or the curse counter, right? The fucking shit and all that stuff. I remember they had that counter up. I'm like, they're really trying to get off air. They're really trying to get off air. I remember that episode, man. It's crazy. I remember that. I know it's more recent, but the male female athlete or where that came to be, and like, yeah, they really are trying to they are really trying to either get canceled or trying to get out, and that's just insane to me. Like, that's damn, bro. Like, really, money is really the big indicator of like, if I just go back to what Godfather 3, and they say that pivotal line. Every time I'm out, they pull me back in. Every time I think I'm out, they just pull me back in. I'm like, damn, that's it. That really is it, man. Yeah. But hey, man, if they're I guess cool with it at this point, and really try and make that money, try and make some generational
it
wealth.
was episode number 60. It was in the 5th season, the 66th episode, and the word shit was said 162 times. Episode number 200, which I believe is where they depicted Muhammad. That episode actually got banned from Comedy Central, as well as episode number 201.
Of course,
mind you, this series is now in over 330 episodes. I mean, we're in Simpsons territory. I mean, the Simpsons are still going. Yeah. They've been going since the early 90s. This show has been going since 1997. When this was like, it was the Simpsons, and then I think Simpsons was like 92 or 93, and then this show started in 97.
I thought that Simpsons already was done.
No, Simpsons is still going. They're still putting shit out on freaking Disney Plus. That's how scary Disney is right now. No. They own the Simpsons, and they're putting out new content. So
crazy.
Which actually I heard that the they did a Loki episode, which is actually pretty funny. But I think that it's winding down. I want to say that I think they have put a state of execution for the Simpsons. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say like Matt Groening said like it's like 5 more seasons or something. I don't know, but I know the South Park's still going, and I know that Seth MacFarlane just recently has talked about how he wants off Fox with Family Guy. He's just really, really getting irritated with the company Fox, mainly because of its connection with its news network. But freaking South Park is still going, or I'm sorry, Family Guy is still going. So.
I know.
But yeah. Anyways, let's get to the actual news and notes, because these 2 stories were not on JR's news and notes, and I think he's just about done stuffing his face with Chinese food, which is really making me jealous right now. Delays. A slew of games were delayed. Slew of games delays is on the horizon. Games like Kenya, Bridge of Spirits, Ghostwire.
Wait. First things first.
Yes, sir.
I apologize to my dude to my left because I actually sent you the wrong script.
Is this not the right script?
It's the right script, but that's the script before I cut it down.
Okay, so we're not doing this one?
No. We're still doing that one, but I have the actually updated script. So at this point, I will take over. Hey guys,
go right ahead, sir.
Hey guys, this is our season 2. We're still trying to work out the kinks. So I'm using no special, guys. Man, it's only 2 topics for the day, but we do have a couple of trailers that have come out specifically. 2 ones for me that are super really looking great and shaping up to be really, really freaking well. Dune, the official trailer, premiering on October 22nd in theaters and on HBO Max. My guy, have you seen this trailer?
I have not. I did hear about it. I never saw the original, which I know was Ridley Scott, one of his masterpiece projects back in like in the 80s or 90s,
something like that. Yeah.
Is he doing this one? Or is this somebody else remaking it?
It might be somebody else.
I've heard some good things about it. I have not seen the trailer, just because I just didn't. I think just because I've been so involved, especially lately, with the podcast, and we did so much Marvel stuff the last 6 months. I just get so Marvel centric, which was funny going through my Facebook memories, people calling me out, because little did I know. Real quick note about our main topic. Suicide Squad. Did not know this. The original Suicide Squad was released on the exact same day,
Oh,
5 years ago.
nice.
I thought that was interesting.
Wait,
But no, I've not seen Dune. But
it looks
tell us a little
good,
bit about what
bro.
you saw. I'll have to check it out. I'll probably throw
Yeah,
it on my YouTube
I,
after the show.
yeah,
But
I will definitely say I feel it's like one of those trailers that they're releasing too much, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, man, it looks really freaking good. I feel like I've read a little bit. I can like I've read the original. I can't say I read the original book. I've read a little bit of it, right? Of Dune, and I've heard, of most of the juicier quote unquote parts from friends who have read the whole freaking thing and just talk to me about it. And what I gotta say, bro, they're trying their best to really be like the novel, not the novel, but like not. They're trying their best representation of it. And from what I gotta say, bro, it looks good. It looks really good, man. Timmy Chalamet is really good. Dave Bautista looks freaking awesome. Like, just there's so many multifaceted things in it that they throw at you at once. I hope they don't do the whole explanation. They don't. I hope they don't do the whole exposition of trying to tell you everything of everything, because that's what the books are for. I feel like they should really just throw you headfirst into this world, because that's a great representation. That should be a great way of bringing in new people to get them excited, man. It looks really freaking good. Timmy Chalamet, Zendaya looks amazing. The cinematography looks freaking crisp, man. I cannot wait for it, dude. I'm definitely gonna be watching on HBO Max. Obviously, I don't want to go. I don't go outside to watch it with people. Uh,
You're
but
part of the problem.
yeah, I don't
Hey,
give a
so am
fuck. Yeah, I definitely want to go. Yeah, I definitely want to watch this movie, man. I forget who else is in it. Aquaman is in it, of course. I forgot his name.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. Yeah, and currently, it's the second time I think he's been in a movie or in anything with Dave Bautista, because just segue just a little bit. C season 2, which is an Apple TV original show, looks
Yeah, it
freaking
looks really
amazing.
kind
By
of
the way,
cool.
oh god, dude, yeah, both Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa are in that movie as well, dude, and like that looks freaking like Zatuichi, but the whole world.
Yeah.
So that looks freaking cool. But yeah, it looks amazing, man. And the next video that came out, man, and oh my god, I love this video, this trailer, Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer. I think it's the second one, and oh, you want to talk about like paying homage to the original properly,
Absolutely.
and not just
Everything about it.
paying homage for the points of being, super fan service, but like engaging into it and then building upon that. That's how you fucking do it. You don't replace everything by swapping, genders or swapping whatever. Build upon it. This is what freaking, what I like, what I live for, when I was watching freaking the animated series of the original Ghostbusters and the I forgot, like Ghostbusters Extreme or something, where it had like the more, teen centric Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It was very much of that. It felt very much like that. Like, okay, you built upon it with the next generation. Oh yeah, Ghostbusters Next Generation. Duh. But yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife looks great. It comes out in theaters only this November. I will definitely watch that in theaters. Stars Paul Rudd, Bakina Grace, and Finn Wolford. Man, I gotta say, man, that I'm super excited for that movie. I'm super excited for Dune. There's a bunch of movies that I had on the old list. I'm pretty sure it's in front of you right now that aren't there anymore. But I was excited for those stuff, man. But man, but
I will
going
say
in from
what was
go
said real quick about Ghostbusters was it was the small things that kind of attracted me in this was the graphics. Not overly CG. Obviously there you have to in some cases, but they really tried to do this. I always try to tell people is like I wish that George Lucas would have done the prequels the same way he did the original series, but in 1999 or
yeah
1997, whatever. Um, it really felt like Jason Reitman made this movie in 2019 or 2018, whenever it was filmed, but really dabbled in 1986 technology, or kept it very 1986. And what I mean by that is you look at the hound, the Doom Hound or whatever the hell thing is. It comes
Yeah.
busting out of the Walmart with chasing after Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And whoa, sorry, my computer just went loud in my ear. So anyways, oh yeah, okay, duh. Um the red kind of ghost energy that came out of the well, very
Yeah.
reminiscent what came out of the hotel and stuff like that. So really kind of a cool homage. I know they didn't try to update the Ecto One. You have everyone from the lady who plays the secretary. You have the little teaser at the end that's Ray, of course, with Ray's Book of the Occult store.
Mm-hmm.
So he's coming back. Supposedly, a Toy League shows that Peter Venkman's coming back, and so is oh my gosh, I can't think. I hate to say
Bill?
it, I forgot the black guy's name.
Oh, yeah. His name
But
too.
obviously
Yeah.
Spangler is not coming back because the actor who played him passed away, and he was, of course, one of the original writers of
Yep.
Ghostbusters, along with Dan Aykroyd. Just everything about it, and of course Paul Rudd, who's going to deliver on this movie, because Paul Rudd can do no wrong, even when he's doing
Yeah.
shitty ass freaking Judd Apatow movies. Sorry, I'm not a Judd Apatow fan,
Okay.
but yeah, I think it looks good,
It's good, man. It's
and
great.
I'm looking forward to this.
You
And
also came out.
could they have not, by the way, could they have not cast Spangler's grandkids any better? I mean, they're just perfect. So
Yeah, man. It was great. It was great, dude. I freaking love that. But cooking up to a little bit more, some more news, but more MC news actually. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Ring releases another trailer, and that is set to premiere this September 3rd in theaters. Thoughts on that, my guy?
it's going to tie into our main topic about
Mm-hmm.
how they handled Scarlett. That they are adamantly, basically, Kevin Feige told the CEO of Disney,
Current one.
Bob Chapek, saying, "Listen, asshole, we're not doing Premier Access anymore. At least not Marvel properties. You can put your Star Wars shit, you can put your Disney shit out there. Marvel is done being Premier Access." So Shang-Chi
Yeah.
and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and it has been announced that the Eternals are both going to be in theaters only. With the rise in the Delta variant, with the rise in COVID cases, especially here in Riverside County,
Yep.
I would be very, very, it would be very, very irresponsible of me to take my family and my children out to the movies right now.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, um, businesses like Regal Cinema, which anticipates the fact that attendance is going to go down, but that people are being responsible, and are, people that are being vaccinated, like, JR's vaccinated. I'm not. It's not. I'm not being,
Personal
quote,
choice. Get it.
anti-vax. It's a long story. I'm dealing with I'm still dealing with my shoulder and stuff. It's just, there's a lot of other stuff going on with
Yeah.
me that the last thing I want to do is deal with the freaking 5 days of hell that my wife went through when she got vaccinated. I am going to eventually be vaccinated. One of the biggest things is, I've been discussing with my doctor and my brother about it, but that's here and there.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think like Cinemark is doing is they're bringing back the theater rentals. I know that I saw on a couple of YouTube channels that Cinemark, I believe, was renting out theaters for only $150. Now you're thinking, well, only $150? That's a lot. Well, think about it. If you can get with, because the rules were a limited of 20 people. So think about it. You take $150 and divide it by 20. You do the math, JR. You're still come out ahead if you want to go rent a theater to go see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And they're still going to get their take on the concessions and stuff like that. So
It's fine. But overall, before that, the trailer Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
You watch it? Did you watch it?
I did. Oh, of course. I just watched the other one, the new TV trailer too, while we were talking. It looks phenomenal. I will say this, JR, my concern over Shang-Chi is kind of beginning to grow a little bit, kind of like yours was a little bit.
Yep.
That I think for me, it almost might be too deep of a dive of source material. At the same time, I think that the I don't know what to think about. You know, it sounds really silly, but I don't know what to think of the Ten Rings now being an actual physical thing,
Yeah.
and there being an actual weapon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just something. So
Yeah. My biggest thing too is that there's gonna be obvious comparisons to like Wakanda, right? And granted, yeah, for those who come from who've read comic books before, everyone has a freaking ancient civilization somewhere that has been seen from the world, and that their civilization has, I don't know, great mystical powers, um, or having some crazy advanced technology or whatever have you, right? And it's gonna be the same thing said within this because I forgot specifically in Iron Fist, but I do know that Iron Fist, where his land specifically, does tie into Shang-Chi as well.
yes,
And there's gonna be obvious references to Shang-Chi, to Wakanda, and to Black Panther because of this whole the land of mysticism and trying to understand locations and all that stuff. My biggest complaint with this is how much it feels like they're trying super hard with this, right? And it feels very much like how I felt with Captain America. They're pushing it. They're pushing it like a mother, and they're pushing it to be super likable rather than just like letting it flesh out and let him try it by himself, man. They're just super pushing it. And again, like I think I would feel better about it if I just fucking liked the guy. If I like the main character, the main actor, man. It's not that I don't. It's not like I don't have despondent hate against him. I don't, obviously. It's just that like I I feel like they could have made better choices for the representation of Mandarin people or for Chinese people, right? For I can't say Cantonese, but like he's specifically from Canada, man. But like I feel like that they could have had a better representation because we've already had better representations of Asian men just in the last year
yeah.
of it, right? Like okay, cool, Henry. I think Henry Weaving or Henry Gold, I forgot his name specifically, but Crazy Rich Asian. He was currently in Snake Eyes. Great Asian actor. Could have got him.
Yeah.
Great likable guy. Freaking my guy from who played oh my gosh, dude, Mortal Kombat, who played Liu
Oh
Kang.
yeah.
You look freaking awesome. Could have chose him. But you got the guy who 3-4 years ago bitched at Marvel, say, hey, that's great what you did with Black Panther. How about with an Asian hero like
He's a
Shang-Chi?
Marvel fan. He's a Marvel
But
fan, which is a good thing.
no, but I think I've made note of this before. After he became Shang-Chi and was given the contract, I think he came in an interview by saying, oh man, I gotta be Shang-Chi. Like we couldn't make another character. I'm like, bro, you just what the hell are you
Well,
talking about, man?
Simu
Yeah.
he came out and said, actually on Twitter,
Mm.
and I don't even think they had formally announced. Um, I don't think they had formally announced Shang-Chi or not, but he
Mm-mm.
had put out on Twitter like, "Hey Marvel, why don't you do Shang-Chi?" And it was
Yeah.
after Black Panther, so I think he specifically did
Yeah,
call
that was
out
it.
the
That
character
was it.
Shang-Chi. Um,
Like
but
me, no,
um,
he pointed to him. He had a couple of tweets about that, like, hey, let me be Shang-Chi. And then when he was given the role of Shang-Chi, he had a take on diversity and saying that, oh, I have to be Shang-Chi who has why can't I be another Asian, whatever have you? And I'm like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? You want to be vetted for this guy years ago. And just small stuff like that, man. Small stuff like that. I'm like, granted, again, I'm gonna give it a shot. I have to. Like, it's at this point, it's my freaking job. But and I'm gonna go into the movie with the with with low expectations. Hope you be blown away by it. Right? They got really great actors anyway, and I feel like okay, Marvel movies in recent years they pretty much hit with me every single time. So again, I'm gonna go see this movie. It's just right now it's giving me more so of more reasons why to not go and watch this movie and just wait until it comes out on Disney Premier Access when it inevitably happens. So, but that's just me. But going back onto the big elephant in the room, that the big elephant that's standing in the Disney room, Scarlett Johansson suing Disney for breach of contract for releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus. My guy, my dude, we've been talking about this off air for quite a while. I know that Kevin's gonna be leaving just real quick, but man, I'm pretty sure everyone in the comic book world or the pop culture world that knows about this, right? Just the matter is that Scarlett Johansson is contract assured that the movie has an exclusive theater only release and how her earnings revolve around box office returns. She claims that Disney has failed to renegotiate her contract in light of the premiere access release. Disney has recently, I say recently, pretty vaguely, I think they released it like about now in our time, about 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 days ago. And that the release that their statement is saying that the lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with premiere access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn an additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. My guy, we've been talking about this on and off camera for quite a while, and we're both passionate and understanding about both sides. But for everyone to hear, thoughts. Your mic's still off.
Pardon me, I'm trying to get my
Headphones.
my earpieces to work again. I'm having some audio issues again, as per usual. But really, where do I begin with this? Really, really kind of tough. Is let's strip it down to exactly, let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
No one's up to no good. No one
Yeah.
is trying to screw anybody. Everything is on the up and up. Okay. Is she made a contract with her agent that stated she was going to get $20 million up front. She was going to get a producer's credit, I believe. And she was going to make a percentage on the gate. Okay. On ticket sales.
Yeah.
That was back in 2019 when this movie was greenlit, May 7th, 2020.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Global pandemic happens. Movie theaters are shut down.
Yep.
Holy shit. Okay. Disney is going in panic mode and saying, okay, Mr. Feige, how does this affect us going forward? How does this affect, this is all stuff that had to have happened. New CEO takes over for arguably one of the greatest CEOs in Hollywood history, in probably in business history, in the form of Bob Iger. And you can still hear me, right, JR?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to do another test here.
Okay.
And you know, your Bob, your whatever his name, I can't think of his name. Your Bob Chapek. You know, you've ran Disneyland for a decade or decade plus.
Yeah.
And you're taking over the big chair, going to work for the mouse, and you inherit this creation that Bob Iger made in Disney Plus. You go to your heads, your different studios, go to Kathleen Kennedy. How does this affect us? Okay, you've got Mandalorian, you've got all this stuff under your belt on Disney Plus. Perfect. We're not doing any movies right now, even though they've since announced a ton of stuff that's going to come out down the road, including Rogue Squadron. They've got Mulan. This is one of their big Disney Pictures, the Walt Disney Company Pictures, tent poles for 2020. They've got all these other stuff for Marvel Studios coming out as well, and they go into panic mode. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? This, we've never been here before. This is unprecedented. What do we do? And they decide to put it on their streaming platform. This is where everybody's going. You know, we've talked about this for years. Movie theaters are dead. We're going to streaming. We're going to finally bite the bullet. And they do it with Mulan. And secretly, Mulan actually was a success on Premier Access with little to no theatrical release, and it still made money. Of course, its theatrical release was in the Asian market, where it was expected to do okay. It did poorly in China.
Yeah, of course.
But it's still, and I still can't hear back without turning on the speakers. So, but again, going hypothetically, I think that everything was handled correctly. Hey, they panicked. They put things on the streaming platform because they didn't think theaters were going to reopen. They set a precedent with Mulan. They set a precedent with Raya and the Dragon, the Last Dragon.
Yep.
They set a precedent with, they did 2 other movies in 2021 before. They did Cruella, and then I think one other one before that, before they did
Luca.
And then they finally came out. Black Widow's coming out in July, theater and Disney Plus Premier Access. And nothing was said. Nothing was said. So on paper, I think everything was handled properly. I think that someone should have alerted Miss Johansson and said, hey, listen, we're watching these things. We saw Mulan. It made $60 million plus on opening weekend on Disney Plus for Disney. But it did do very well in theaters. And then they watch Raya, they watch all these other things, like, hey, what are our options? Where are we at on this? And that's where they should have gone back to Disney, and Disney should have listened and said, hey, you know what? You're right. Let's readdress that. Let's negotiate, because this is going to go to theaters. We're tracking this. People are not quite interested in going back to the theater yet. So let's renegotiate it. But I think that her people should have seen the writing on the wall. And I think that when they saw that this was going to be a relative success in theater, but a monster on Premier Access, they should have looked at the contract on their back end and said, what are we making on streaming? Because like I told JR off the air, was I just recently saw an interview with Matt Damon that said that a lot of movies that are made now, mostly independent, but the way movies are made is, they to put a movie, to get a movie made, it's going to cost them between marketing and initial costs. Like, okay, for example, he talked about, granted, it was an independent movie. Talked about what was it? The Candelabra, the movie about what's his name on it was on HBO way back in the day with oh my gosh, Michael.
Oh no, you. No. Are you
Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man?
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Douglas.
Okay.
It was going to cost them $50 million to make that movie if they put it in the theater. Because, and here's thinking, okay, for me to even make any of my money back, this movie's going to make $100 million in the theater for me to make my money back. And he goes, and it wasn't a gamble, even though he said I probably could have made it back on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that. And the interviewer was like, wait, you made that much? Oh yeah, we made tons of money on Blu-ray and DVD. There's no money to be made in that market anymore, because DVD and Blu-rays are down, streaming's up, buying stuff on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, whatever they're streaming, their Amazon Prime video rental, whatever it is. Everything's all about digital, and the studios don't make there is no back end on digital. And so I really think that when they saw it going that direction, and people have been calling the bluff of the movie theater industry for years, that it's on the decline. People aren't going to the movies. The only reason they're going to movies are they're seeing the Marvel, the DC, the Fast and the Furious, the Jurassic Worlds. They're not going to see art house movies. Proof is in the pudding. Look at the Oscars. Look at the Golden Globes. They were Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Emmys.
Okay, yeah,
Same thing. So
yeah.
She should have readdressed it. And we'll get into one of the main reasons why she went down this road, and it came out in an article on comicbookmovie.com earlier this week. JR, just again to get some of more of your feelings on this issue with Scarlett.
I'm behind Scarlett the whole way.
I was still trying to get
Period.
my audio to work.
Yeah, I'm behind Scarlett the whole way. It's the House of Mouse. Fuck them. Period. Like, why should I care about a billion dollar company? Granted, people are gonna say, why do you care about a millionaire star? It's the same thing. It's the same thing in regards to, like, one, she's a worker for them, and two, they're the corporation. Period. Why should my tears be shed for a company? No. I harken back to the many fucking times of, like, I understand that people's inclusion of, like, wanting to keep their childhood perfect, and Disneyland and Disney and all the movies we watched when we were fucking 10, 11 years old, even the Marvel movies now, right? They're so ingratiated in our minds, right? Well, guess what? Those companies that make them, complete fucking scumbags. They'll screw over every actor, actresses, regardless of who they are. And this is one for them. And here's the thing about this. If Disney wins, which is a possibility that they will, they can be able, at this point, to drag Tony Stark's dead fucking body out and parade him around because they fucking can. Because that's how Disney is, man. I'm backing Scarlett's play because of this. The multi-billion-dollar company will still keep on getting its 10 million that she should have received. Period. Like, it's hers. They're gonna be using her face and likeness for fucking years. Probably past when probably even when she passes away, they'll still be using her likeness to represent Marvel movies. Yeah, get your money and get the fuck out. Make your money and get the hell out. So yes, like, I'm pretty sure, sadly, when the original cast of our Star Wars movies, which sadly we already lost one, the awesome Carrie Fisher, they will use her likeness after she's passed away to feed upon our nostalgia for you to watch the next Star Wars movie. For the second fucking time, hello everyone again. We had some issues with the first recording. This is the second time we're recording this. We're just gonna record the latter part of the episode, and
so we're just gonna pick up where we left off on the discussion.
Yeah.
As you just saw before the commercial break, JR was talking about likenesses, and talking about, and most specifically talking about Carrie Fisher, and sure, he brings up a absolute great point. I have in my collection, I have a Funko Pop set that I bought from Chick, and I remember it was the weekend that Carrie passed away. She put a bunch of stuff out, and I remember she got like I take that back. It was before she passed away. She had got a Funko set in of the Slave Leia setup, the in in the golden bikini and next in at the foot of Jabba the Hutt.
Hmm.
And that came out. When that came out, it had been out for a little bit. Funko had released it, but Funko wasn't where it is now.
Yeah.
And I remember Chick texted me on a Saturday, and I never went to the comic book store on a Saturday. This was after I'd gotten fired from radio and stuff, so I hardly went in there on Saturdays. I just went on Wednesdays. So she texts me. I remember got showered. My wife Danielle goes, "Where are you going?" So going to the comic book store, buying this Funko set. She's like, "Really? Do you absolutely have to have it to take off on a Saturday?" Because she knows if I'm going to go, I'm going to be gone for a while.
Yeah.
Which I actually bought it, came back, and she showed it to her. She's like, "That's pretty cool." And the reason I was so adamant about buying it, and Chick didn't know this, and I told her later, and I said I felt kind of bad because she sold it for retail, was when that Funko, literally that week, Carrie Fisher had said that she had talked to Disney, had talked to Lucasfilms, and then the toy distributors, and said that she no longer wanted to monetize this. She basically said, Disney, you are no longer allowed to officially license me in the slave Leia outfit. And it was funny, was not funny, but go with me on this. It was, what was kind of funny was when Carrie did die, unfortunately, R.I.P. Princess, people were like, oh, she's dead. We can now we can do whatever we want. We can bring the slave Leia thing back. And there are people out there that still sell stuff. You got cosplayers and dirty magazines that sell shit.
Yeah, so it's gonna happen.
But Disney, it's in her contract, it's in her will and testament, and Bob Iger and Disney has to honor it, is that they will no longer monetize, they will no longer make money and produce anything having to do with the slave Leia outfit. And they haven't. They really don't. I have seen the slave Leia set up in the Funko set, but it's in the wild. It's a lot of things are in the wild. You're going to find these, and I tell people grab it all the time. It's a really nice set. You're getting 3 Funkos for the price of one set. I think I bought it for like $19.99, and this was like probably like 2017, I think. Yeah. But no, I got a smoking deal. What you were saying before, Jerry, and you're absolutely right, is, and it goes for anybody. It goes for Annette Funicello. It goes for Dick Van Dyke. It goes for it goes for oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name. Who plays Mary Poppins? It goes for
who was the old Batman in the 1960s, 70s? He passed away.
Adam West.
Adam West.
Now Adam West, he's obviously owned by Warner Brothers and his stuff. Yeah, and a lot of that goes to the estate, and it goes to this is, again, you have to work a deal. And I think that if when the dust settles on this Scarlett Johannson deal, it's I hope that it ends cleanly, that Scarlett does get paid. I don't think she's going to get paid the quote $70 million that she thinks she's entitled to. Yeah. I think that she's going to get paid. She's going to make out like a bandit on this in the long run. I think Bob Checkett or whatever his name is going to do the right thing. Yeah. And I think that all is going to be good in the world, and she's going to be welcome back because she still loves Kevin Feige. She loves working for Kevin. She loves Marvel. She loves the fans. I think this does explain a lot to why, amongst other things, personally, obviously she's pregnant with her child.
Second child.
And a lot of reasons why she did not attend most of the premiere events that I and my wife attended. But you look at like, for example, Sir Alec Guinness, who played the original Obi-Wan Kenobi. He had a back end deal. He told George Lucas, don't pay me to do this stupid movie, to pay me on the back end. And he knew, if this movie makes any money, I'm going to make some money, but no, save your money. I'll take back end. And people were like, oh my gosh, he must have had a crystal ball, and he would have known that Star Wars was going to make all. No, he had no idea. He just wanted to go to work, make his money, and he knew that George Lucas couldn't afford to pay him. So he says, I'll just take back end and make a little jing. Movie blows up. He appears in episodes 5 and 6. Some of his stuff, I think, was already filmed for Empire, and they brought it to return. I know that George Lucas to this day anytime his likeness is used, it was worked into the contract of the Lucasfilm deal to Disney that Sir Alec Guinness, anytime his likeness is used, his estate makes money. They're still
Yeah.
to this day honoring
Yeah.
that Alec Guinness deal. So you're right, JR, in that, yeah, they're gonna, whether she likes it or not, they have the rights to her likeness as Black Widow. They have that. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And that's the way it's gonna go.
Yeah. It's just, my thing is this, man, for the whole thing is that like, I know we brought up Lucasfilms the last time we talked about, like, well, look how Lucasfilms does it. Well, that's Lucasfilms before Disney. And for a very long time, there was never a one-on-one representation of like what is a upstanding business empire. One, Sir Allen Guinness was great in having that. One, it was Star Wars was a passion project, just all the way through. It was damn near indie, even though you had Lucasfilms do it. He made his own movie. He fronted his own money, did this whole thing because he was passionate about it, and he did all these amazing maneuvers that was revolutionary for its time. So yeah, and it wasn't until after the fact that that Lucas's bet really fucking paid off. But with that in hindsight, you're talking about Disney, a conglomerate that's probably been around for what, nearly a full-on century, maybe a bit more, where we've seen example after example after example that it's a money-hungry company first and foremost that really does want profit before everyone else. And again, I go back to the article from Hollywood Reporter. I think I texted to you a while back, where it was a Disney versus Scarlett Johannson and the lawsuits that will follow after. It's excerpt from it goes, let me see, where is that? I can find it. Where in late 2020, a studio begins shifting movies that have been late production, blah blah. There you go. And not a good Disney. Oh wait, where I go? The expectation of an exclusive theatrical release onto their streaming services, agents began to complain that Disney was distinguishing itself, and not in a good way, in negotiations with key talent. Disney is by far the most ridiculous on deals, one high-level agent said then. Another added, their initial deals and offers were dog shit, terrible for first dollar gross players. So this isn't a new thing. This has been around it's been around for a very, very long time that Disney, not Marvel, Disney has been shit. And it's weird trying. Again, I'm not putting any hate on you. It's just weird trying to back the empire in this sense. If this was Star Wars, Disney's the empire. Period. Because
I still think Direct TV or AT&T is the empire, but
Disney's the empire. And Disney, AT&T, all the multi-billion-dollar, the companies that will hit $1 trillion eventually in the next 50 to 100 years are the empire.
Do you mean like Amazon?
Yeah, them now, sure. This through equity, but then eventually they're gonna hit double trillions. Like who are we? What is literally 70 million to Disney, other than fucking ego? Other than the fact that, looking at their prime talent that gave them 10 years of her life, say, you know what, we think you're worth this much, and this whole new thing that has come into fruition in the last 5 years, and then it's spearheaded by us. And so now, again, this happens so many freaking times in history where the new thing comes on when it comes to labor, that, oh, since this is new, we don't know what's going on here, but you know what, we're gonna fuck you without really thinking you're being fucked. So the old way that you think of doing this thing, theatrical releases, back end stuff, DVDs, Blu-rays, physical material that are going to be in the hands of consumers are going to be non-existent anymore, because guess what? Streaming is a thing now.
Yeah.
No, there is nothing. There is absolutely no there's no like laws at this point. We are in the cusp of a new thing. Streaming is a new thing in comparison to like when it's outside of Netflix. No one else has done this yet.
It's going to continue to go this way. And to put a bow on this, and we can talk about Scarlett until we're blue in the face, is there's what's going to come out of this deal. And you're right, Disney has been like this, but a lot of studios, and I've read stuff and I've watched documentaries and stuff. There's a lot of studios. Disney just has the biggest spotlight on them. Again, I go back to the Hot Ones interview with Matt Damon that Sean Evans did on his YouTube channel. And Matt talked about that.
How much does he break even? I get it.
Yeah, how much break even. And that first run people aren't going to get, no matter how big, and yeah, it just sucks. You know, it won an Oscar. It's one of the greatest movies of all time, talking about Good Will Hunting. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck became two of the hottest actors to ever live. Matt Damon is a hell of a writer. It was funny, he was hired to do a movie for Steven Soderbergh, who's a fantastic director. He was, the thing was called The Informant, and Matt asked him, he goes, "You want me to write it?" And he goes, "No, you're a hell of a writer, but we've got this guy writing it." And I can't remember who the writer was. And he goes, "Yeah, he's good." But Matt was like, I still feel I'm a good writer and can contribute to the movie business this way. And where I'm going with this is that he talked about, don't expect a lot out of a first run. And I think you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm not denying that what this article is saying is wrong. The problem that I have with a lot of the media, and that we're seeing this right now in a lot of different aspects, is that Disney is at the forefront. So they're just going to roast Disney. Are they guilty of it? Yes. Are they the most guilty of it? Probably not. Are they the first to be guilty of it? No. Are they the latest? Yes. Are they going to be the last? No. But they have the biggest spotlight on them. Reason being, they own Marvel Studios. They own Lucasfilm. And they're going to have this gigantic spotlight on them. And it's just like I tell people all the time, is like, just to dive off to politics just for a moment, and then we'll close the chapter on this. It's like the president. Go ahead. But it's like the president. The president catches a lot of shit for stuff that he does, and a lot of what he does, regardless of who he is and what party affiliation, whatever he does, if he does something wrong, it's not worse or less than anybody else. But because he has the greatest spotlight on, because he is the leader, he is the executive branch. He's gonna get roasted for it. And I think, like you said, they're the leaders in the doghouse. They're the ones that have made the most money off of theatrical releases in the last 10 years. You look at Pixar, Disney Studios, Marvel, and Lucasfilm. They're making bank. But you also have to take into consideration too, real quick, to end on this, on my side, and then we'll wrap things up. I'll let you get in there, JR. Is the difference between Disney and anybody else, except for Universal, who has a theme park as well, is that Disney has a theme park, but not just one theme park, not two, not three, not four, but at least 5, maybe even more theme parks that took a absolute beating in the last 18 months. On top of that, just before the pandemic, they had finally got Shanghai Disney open, and it had been bleeding money all through construction. And Anaheim, which has taken the biggest hit of all of the theme parks, was, imagine if you're a business and someone lit your money bag on, like, someone robbed you and took literally all your cash. Yeah, you have insurance for that and stuff like that, but it's going to take you a while. That's Shanghai Disney. Anaheim was an ATM machine for Disney. It just made cash. Orlando made more revenue, but Anaheim made more profit. And when those shut down, Disney stock took a beating. And that's the only thing that I think that they can kind of lean on, is like, hey, we didn't make this deal with Scarlett. And I apologize, I can't think of her name, the young lady who did Mulan. The reason we didn't make these deals with Emma Stone, the reason we didn't make these deals with Emma Blunt, the reason we didn't make the deal with Dwayne Johnson, the reason we didn't make this deal with with Aquafina and
Yeah.
the young lady from Star Wars who did the voice of Raya.
Yeah.
You know, the reason we didn't do this and do that is because we didn't. Yeah, you say they're a $1 billion company, but they're moving stuff around. And Bob, whatever his name is, check off,
Yeah.
whatever
So, yeah.
is crap, dude. I just took over. I run theme parks. I don't run movie studios. I think he was in over his head. So there was a lot more going on with Disney. I think Warner Brothers did the right thing in writing and cutting them a check, because even though they're not as flush with cash because they're doing some restructuring, and obviously they're in the midst of selling off Warner Media from their AT&T brand, mother company. So, but Disney had so much more on their plate going on, and I think it's only a matter of time that if Bob
Chapek, whatever his name.
Chapek stays in power, I would not be surprised that not that the guy needs any more responsibility. I would not be surprised if Kevin Feige is put in charge of not only Marvel Studios, but probably the Walt Disney or Disney Pictures.
Probably Disney Pictures.
And handles all the business. So real quick, wrap it us up, JR, on the Black Widow, because I want to get to the main event.
Yeah. Again, man, I just gotta say, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. The biggest horror for this is that when you exceed that multi-billion-dollar thing, is that you have other investors still, and the biggest reason why, the other biggest reason why they're shutting their theme parks down is that people are pulling out of it wanting money because pandemic. I get it, but you have other things for that. They themselves should have caught that, where if you have a bunch of people, because stock market is fucking as volatile as anything else in this world, they'll tend to go down. I have no bleeding hearts for a billionaire company. I don't. Cool, their theme park shut down. They still make money. That's horrible for the people that work there. That's horrible for the actors, actresses that are getting paid shit to begin with. That's have to work there in the sense. But like, it's at the same time, I still, if we harken back to our Apple versus Gearbox, I think, no, Gear something, our Epic Games studio, right? I feel it's very much the same way when it's Scarlett versus Disney, in the sense of that after this case, it's gonna set a precedent for everything else that comes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Period.
No.
So that's
no one's gonna get back end deals anymore.
That's what I'm like. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, what is it then? When you look at the precedent for this, if no one gets back end deals, what is it then for anybody to want to actually be loyal to a company? How are you going to get Chris Hemsworth then? That, oh, cool, I'm not getting back end deals, but you still want me to play Thor for the next 5 years, but I'm only getting paid this much amount, even though prior to this I was getting this amount afterwards, back end deals through merchandising, all this stuff. But I'm not getting that anymore because it's gonna go to streaming. Fuck y'all, I'm out. Thanks for the money. Thanks for the memories. Peace. Same thing there, because the same thing in this article, it said the exact same thing about Chris Pratt. About his Tomorrow War. He was in, out, that was it. He did not care. It was just a movie. It's gonna set a precedent for everything else. Again, like, if you do this stuff, there's always going to be consequences, whether people realize or not. And it's going to affect the fans because, all right, cool. If Tom Holland is Spider-Man 1 year, who's going to be Spider-Man the next if he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore because of the residual income not coming anymore? Or just for the fact that they're, okay, cool, he's going to ruin his fucking leg doing a dumbass flip for one movie, and then they're not going to care about him because guess what? He is now liability. So this is a lot of there. After this event, there's going to be a precedent for something. And again, yes, Disney's game is getting shut on right now this year. Last year, Warner Bros. Exact same thing. Probably next year, maybe AT&T, maybe something else. Who knows? But again, I'm still rooting for the people that are gonna be in my movie screens. I'm gonna be watching constantly. And so I'm hoping that.
And we'll end this on, and let us know in the comments below, and email us pscomicsIloveyou@gmail.com, or hit us up on social media, PS Comics I Love You on Facebook and Instagram, PS Comics I Love the letter U on Twitter. What you guys think about the Scarlett Johansson deal? Now, I have always kind of leaned towards the boss, I guess you'd say, in a lot of things. And the reason being was maybe it's because I came from a family whose my dad was the boss. My dad owned his own company, and I saw it from that vantage point. I'm not saying that my dad is freaking Disney in this. I'm not saying that my dad is I'm not saying that my dad is Apple in this, though we are both investors in Apple and in Disney. But we look at it from a business standpoint. We look at it from a total package. My sister worked for Disney, and she was very much a Scarlett Johannson. And my dad and I would look at it, and we talk to her and from a vantage point of what her bosses think and stuff like that. And so she kind of saw it, and she sees both, and I see it both sides.
Yeah.
If the contract says one thing, if the contract says that basically, if there's no stipulations that say that Disney cannot put this movie, if there's a contract that says Disney, you cannot put Black Widow on your streaming services.
Yeah.
If there's a clause in her contract that says that, they have no leg to stand on. If it is written vaguely or even specifically that says that Disney can or can do whatever they want with the movie and can benefit from it, sorry, it may look dickish, but they're within. And you're right, you can have an actor like Chris Hemsworth, like a Chris Pratt, like a Tom Holland, like a Samuel L. Jackson, hell, even a Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who just signed on to do a multi-year picture. You can have an Anthony Mackie, you can have a Sebastian Stan, you can have a Elizabeth Olsen, a Paul Bettany, whatever, all go like, fuck you, we're not working for you anymore. But what happens when you tell the largest studio in the world to go fuck themselves? You're never going to get work again.
Comparisons to who, though?
But
to who?
And they said the studio system continues to shrink. So we could talk about this till we're blue in the face. Because we have
they're actors. They've had work in between movies from Disney anyway. And again, this is not to diss you or your family for having, but like mom and pop shops deserve to be the forefront of this fucking country, regardless.
Absolutely. And my dad comes from a mom and pop shop.
Here's the biggest difference though between your dad and Bob Chapek. Your dad knows his employees by name, the lowest ones. Bob Chapek doesn't know who the fuck. Didn't care about Scarlett Johannson, because you know what? In the article he said too, like, I'm not even dealing with that side. They can let them handle it. That's the biggest difference here.
The problem is you're gonna end up being with like a pro modder situation where he's too business oriented and he's not gonna. So, but anyways, we could talk about this. I'm sure we'll talk about Disney. We've got obviously we're gonna talk about Black Widow next week. We're gonna do a full review, almost like we'll probably do like a watch along review, kind of break it down, the hidden messages, because it has a lot of implications to what we're gonna see. Because real quick, to get a Marvel note in there, we do have a release date, November. I think it's November 22nd, I believe, for Hawkeye. It is coming out this year. Let me see. November. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's November 17th. It's a Wednesday. It's gonna be a Wednesday. It's in November. It's in November. So we have a release date. It's in mid-November. We do not have a release date on Miss Marvel, which is supposedly going to be the next one after that. We do not have a release date on the Book of Boba Fett yet, which is also coming to Disney Plus. But we do know that as we record this, we are 2 days away from What If, and I could not be more excited. But other than that, the one thing I was just as excited about this summer, other than Black Widow, other than What If, other than Loki, I was really stoked about Loki, was a movie coming from the aforementioned team at AT&T / Warner Brothers / HBO Max, and that is from the filthy mind of James Gunn. We bring you Suicide Squad. And I'm gonna let JR hit this off, because JR, you know these guys. You're the DC guy between the two of us. I've leaked more towards Marvel, but these characters, other than Bloodsport, I don't know a lot about. So
here's the thing about
I'm
the
just gonna step away just for a
insanity.
second, but
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. Here's definitely the thing and the insanity about James Gunn. Literally in interviews, he said, "You know what? I'm gonna find the stupidest characters, super villains of all time, and just put them in a movie." That's what he did. So a lot of these are huge, deep cuts. Other than King Shark, of course. King Shark has been in Suicide Squad now. I think he's in the current Suicide Squad. He is in the current Suicide Squad run, or I think he was at least in the Rebirth run Suicide Squad. I stopped reading Suicide Squad, I think, a year and a half ago, if I remember correctly. But it was, with the with the same faces of Harley Quinn, not blood, not Bloodsport, but oh man, oh my gosh, I forgot the name. Deadshot. Deadshot's Marvel. Sorry, I apologize, but no, I think it is Deadshot actually. Yeah, the aforementioned Deadshot. I think, yeah, that was played by Will Smith in the 2016 movie iteration of it. But that was the run I watched. I read 2016 onward until like maybe about a year and a half ago. This current run,
Yeah, Deadshot was in the first one.
Yeah, Deadshot's first one. So, but yeah, Deadshot was in the Rebirth launch Suicide Squad with of course Harley, with Katana. No, with Katana.
Yeah, no, it was Katana. It was a lot of, it was King
King Shark was in it too.
No, it wasn't King Shark. It was
Croc was
King
in
Croc.
it. Croc was, yeah, King Croc was in it.
King Shark.
I think he was in the recent one too. It's just more so like,
I think he's more recent.
Yeah, a lot of you'll see in everything, both Marvel as well. A lot of the comics will be geared towards having the same characters from the movie iteration. So that's what came to be. But this one, man, just a lot of them were just really big, deep cuts, man. Peacemaker, he was used like a couple years ago. I just forgot these characters, man.
Peacemaker was, I think even Peacemaker started with DC Comics. I think it was an independent book and was bought by DC.
It was like Ratcatcher, like that was a deep cut. Freaking Polka Dot Man, like the same interview I saw. James Gunn Googled stuff. What is the stupidest super villain of all time? And he looks through all the fluff, and all of them says Polka Dot Man. He goes, yeah, okay, I'm gonna use him. And Polka Dot Man is one of the freaking best hearts of the film.
Yeah,
that's insane. Like a bunch of Michael Rooker's character, I forgot his name too. He was
Michael Rooker. Kick the bucket quick.
Oh, dude, that I absolutely love that. Like that's how it should be, because Suicide Squad very much is that.
That's like, what it was. And even Rooker says
people die.
And he says it in the movie. He goes, "Why would I want to be part of your Suicide Squad?"
Suicide Squad.
Oh, we don't call it that anymore. Yeah,
yeah.
What I like about what I liked about this, and I would tell this to James Gunn's face, and John Cena would probably go, "Oh, he's onto something." To me, this movie was written like a really, really damn good Royal Rumble. Now, if you're ever watched a great Royal Rumble, and if anybody doesn't know what the Royal Rumble is, I'll tell you. Royal Rumble is a wrestling match in the WWE. It was created by Pat Patterson, who's a Hall of Famer. And the match it starts with two people in the ring. Every 2 minutes, another person comes in. There's 30 combatants. You could have all 30 people in the ring. You're thrown over the top rope. You're eliminated. And the last man standing wins the match. And in some cases, you go on to win WrestleMania. Mm. What I loved about Suicide Squad was it was very much a Royal Rumble. They got all their opponents. I want to be on Suicide Squad. So they've got the roster. They've got the lineup. They've got the 30 men, women that are going to be in the Royal Rumble. And they all begin to enter into the match. And one by one, they begin to become eliminated. And, what's kind of cool is most people go like, oh, okay, the typical last four guys, you're going to have your Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But every once in a while, you get a wild card. You get a Kofi Kingston. You get a Shelton Benjamin. You get a wild card that gets in there. And that's what I liked about when, at the end, my wife and I were both like, when Polka Dot Man, spoiler alert, is smashed by a building. And I will have, by the way, he's
it was a building. It was him.
Towers.
It was him.
It was a tower.
It was what's his name? It was
Oh,
Starro.
Starro. You're right.
Yeah,
So when
Starro.
he is smushed, but you got to think he's one of the last 4 minutes. He made it to the end of the movie,
Yeah.
and I think my wife especially goes, "Oh, I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping he'd survive." Like it had done its part. James Gunn had done his part and had
Yeah.
made this character endearing
Yeah.
enough that you cared. And I've seen so many great wrestling matches, especially a
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, where they make you all of a sudden you're rooting for that guy, like, hey, wait a minute, he's one of the last 4. He might go to WrestleMania. What the hell?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what the guy's name is now.
David he's been David
He's that guy.
David. I'm not gonna say his last name. I'm gonna butcher his last name, but he was also in a Gotham. He was in Gotham. He played, if I remember correctly, the Riddler, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay, I could see it.
He was either played the Riddler or someone else. He was also in, if I remember correctly, he was in a bunch of stuff, man. He honestly, he's been a long time coming. He was in Ant-Man, the first one, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he
in the second
is.
as well.
He's in both.
Ant-Man. Yeah, he's in both. So he's the friend of
He's
those
the
three
Russian.
friends, the Russian man. So it's cool, man. I dig this movie so much. It's just a huge difference. A huge difference from the very first one, of course, but then also it's also engaging in how DC is then trying to differentiate itself from like the first iterations of DC movies, right? And a lot of people have put so much hate, mainly Zack Snyder fans, honestly, because of Bloodsport, and saying that, why would Batman? I think we've talked about it before. Why would Superman? Now the reason why Bloodsport's in jail is because he put Superman in the ICU, which is comic accurate. Motherfuckers.
And there's an iconic cover. That's how I know Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Is there's an iconic cover, the two of them going at it on the cover. It's a great cover. It's one of the heydays of DC artwork.
I see you.
And
beautiful film.
Idris Elba did a fantastic job.
Yes.
He has not done a damn thing wrong. He was great as Heimdall. I hope in some way they find a way to bring him back. Maybe not bring him back, but just he can appear again. I think he's so good in that. But he just really, I think what was kind of cool about Bloodsport was he got to play a little bit of Heimdall, a little bit of the character from Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say that too, yeah.
And it just he's just a good actor, and I think that he brought a lot of class for a guy who's dropping F-bombs.
No, the funny thing, I gotta say this too, is that when you're an actor and you've acted in film for so long, I feel like somewhere down the line you start just play yourself, and I feel like Idris now is coming to that point in his life where he's just kind of playing himself to a certain extent, and I kind of love that because Idris himself is super classy, super witty, and I
James Bond.
Absolutely. And so like I love this addition to it, right? Granted, it was supposed to be a Deadshot story. This continuation Deadshot story, because like you see all the scenes he's in, I immediately think of Will Smith, like he could be doing that stuff. His daughter should have been the one at that scene where they were talking. Like, yeah, okay, cool. This is an obvious iteration, but you can't have Will Smith because one, Will Smith is super expensive, and two, he probably didn't want to come back. So understandably so. But the continuation of just the themes, continuation of just like how the one thing that I love about any James Gunn movie is the fucking music. Everything
spot on again
perfectly. You feel it feels so much lighter in a sense, even though how gruesome the movie is, honestly, incredibly gruesome. And I fucking loved it, man. How
great was it? Again, spoiler alert. I'll be down there somewhere. How freaking great. And I hate him. I think he's an overrated actor. He's an overrated comedian. I think he's terrible on Saturday Night Live.
Oh,
how freaking great was it to see Pete Davidson take it in the face? I mean, freaking
I'm-
caved his skull in with a shotgun blast or whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah, it was probably
But
M16.
I cannot stand him. When they cast him in this movie, I was okay with it because I figured he's probably going to die. And I know I'm going to send the hate mail to me at Voice of Reason 23 because it was he lost his dad on 9/11. I know, and he makes jokes about it on freaking roasts on Comedy Central. So I'm sorry. I do feel sorry for him, but I still don't like his work, and I was glad to see him die 15 seconds into the movie. Spoiler alert. I will say this. I ask you this time, and we'll put in the comments below, how many times, for those of you, especially that watched on HBO Max, I was one of them. I was one of the few that did not add to the only $12 million that it made on opening day, sadly. And I don't think this is going to be, I think they're not panicking. I think they're like, it's going to cover its nut. It'll make money somewhere. It's going to attract people to HBO Max. It was not a movie I was willing to go pay. Again, not a detriment. Now. I'm sure it's a blast to see on the big screen. I have 2 kids I can't take to see this movie. Do not take your kids to see this movie. So I'm now having to go get a babysitter or pawn my kids off one of my parents. And I'm going to go to the movies and then immediately have to rush back and I really don't like going to the theater at night anymore because I'm tired and I kind of enjoy watching the movie at its pace. And this movie, it's a long 2-hour movie. It's about, I think the runtime is about an hour and 45 minutes.
It was like two. The full thing is about 2:30, like 2:25. So
is it that long? It did feel long at times. But that would be my only complaint, that it dragged at moments, but it did keep you but at the same time, it did kind of keep you intrigued, involved. What was what I was getting to this was, how many times did you have to pause the movie because you were laughing so hard?
I couldn't pause it, and I had to watch it. I had to watch it straight through. It was definitely hilarious. There were so many
paused at least twice.
There were so many great themes in the movie too. Just from like we gotta understand James Gunn and I just gotta fucking say up front, Suicide Squad is the best movie DC has right now. DC is the best movie over Wonder Woman. I've watched Wonder Woman multiple fucking times.
Yeah, I would say that this Suicide Squad would definitely. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna update my list right now. I think this probably would be the best DCEU film that they've made so far. Who's at the top? I gotta figure out who's at the top of my list on this list.
Wonder Woman probably for you, I think.
No, I actually don't. I'm one of the few people that can't stand Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I just didn't think it was that good of a movie. And
I think I had Joker on top of mine, but Joker is a super serious, super heavy movie, and it's not for everybody. And even though I love Joker for what it was and what it represented, I can't. The totality of Suicide Squad is gonna trump Joker for me. And so what Suicide Squad put in, and what it could represent to the future of DC movies, I put that number 1 for me. Joker number 2, and then 3, I think Aquaman. Because
my list, I actually had Shazam number 1, honestly.
Really? Okay.
So my list now, and this is just the DCEU, so I don't count Joker because I know Joker is at least not yet canon. I have not, and I need to get a kind of a ruling on this. Are we counting Justice League and the Snyder Cut as 2 separate films?
No.
Or can we eliminate the Justice League and just call it the Snyder Cut?
I don't care.
Because the Snyder Cut's now been
the canon thing
is be canon, right?
Yeah, doesn't matter to me.
Okay, well, I'm updating my list with the Snyder Cut, and because I'll throw myself on the bus. I actually had Justice League as my least favorite DCEU movie. I'm going to actually move it up the list. So here is my DCEU list. Again, we're not counting Joker because we don't
Yeah.
know of its canonical place in life. If it's actually going to be connected, is the Joker we
Yeah.
see a different Joker in an earlier time? Is it connected to Jared Leto's Joker? We don't know. My list is number 1 is the Suicide Squad, the one we see right now, the one we saw come on Friday. Number 2 is Justice League Snyder Cut. Number 3, Shazam. Number 4, Man of Steel. Number 5, Wonder Woman. I actually am going to put above Man of Steel. I forgot to put this. I'm going to put Wonder Woman 84. Actually, I'm going to put above. I forgot about that. Above Man of Steel. Man of Steel is number 5. Wonder Woman number 6. Yes, I think that Wonder Woman 84 is better than Wonder Woman. Aquaman 7. Batman versus Superman 8, and the original Suicide Squad at number 9. I have not seen Birds of Prey either, which I know technically does fall into DCEU canon.
It's the canon specifically for DCU is weird, and I know this it's been weird for the last couple of years. So I know we talked about it before, where they're trying to differentiate themselves when Snyder Cut wasn't a thing. They're trying to differentiate themselves from Snyder Cut because of how dark it was, and so they said here, just do whatever the fuck you want. And then Joker came out and it was darker than the Snyder Cut at that point, which is crazy. But yeah, like at this point, just whatever WB properties. If it was full on WB properties, my number 1 still is Under the Red Hood. But like for the big movies, Suicide Squad, 2, Joker. But it
I
actually
do need to see Joker. I just haven't had time to see it.
Yeah, it actually to harken back to when you said about Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, I have to say this is the Harley Quinn. This version of Harley Quinn was the Harley Quinn I've been fucking waiting for since she first came out.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Margot Robbie. When they first announced her, right? I'm like, oh no, they freaking trying to doll her up, make her with the fucking skin tight fucking short shorts and try to make her a sex appealing thing. I get it. I understand you want people to watch the movie. I get it. But being a DC fan, I saw this shit way a long time ago when they did that shit to Cordy, where in 20, I think it was New 52, where Cordy before New 52, she was awesome, wholesome, lovable Cordy. And of course, I'm talking about oh my god, I want you to say her full name. Teen Titans.
Either way, you're right.
Just going back to it. It is the Harley Quinn in that iteration was supposed to be sex appeal. The biggest thing, of course, to me was the accent. And granted, yes, it is an Australian actress trying to have a New York accent. And she has been doing better. She has been doing better for nearly every iteration she has become Harley Quinn. Now, this Suicide Squad version, her accent never dropped. It never dropped. It is the same crazy, insane, manic depressive, freaking, can switch emotions on a dime Harley Quinn that I've been waiting for a very long fucking time. This is my Harley Quinn. This is the one where, she'll spoiler alert for everyone, of course, spoilers, she will fuck the main bad guy, right? Fall in love with him and then shoot him because she sees the red flags. That is my Harley Quinn. Yes, she is an empowering woman that will kill people on a whim. Yes.
By the way, I saw that coming a mile away. Not the way it happened, but I saw her killing the guy.
The first president. Yeah.
I will say this. I'm sitting there, I'm watching the movie with my wife.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know this backstory. And she's sitting there and she's making out and having sex, and they don't show it, but they have sex. And she's in love with this president, but she's in love with this president, like
the ideal,
a child is in love for the first time. It's just, it's puppy love. It's, she has no idea she's a lunatic. When I was waiting for her to go, oh, I love you, but I don't love you and then hint at that she's not into guys. Mm-hmm. The comic book version, for those of you who don't know, the comic version of, especially right now, but for the most part, Harley Quinn has been her sexuality has never been known. It's always open. It's interpreted that she is involved with Joker, but it's obviously a strange relationship. But I know that even in the cartoon, there was always this one time at band camp kind of girly friendship with Ivy, with Poison Ivy. Even like I said, even back to the animated series that you and I watched as kids, they were besties that were a little closer than besties.
Yeah.
And we didn't see it. Now as a nearly 40-year-old man and as a 30-year-old man,
stop being in a bush. Yeah,
they're lesbians. Or they're bi.
Right now, they're lesbians. Granted, I understand that through Poison Ivy because she's gonna hate everybody. She hates humans in general.
She hates everybody.
She hates humans in general, so of course, that she wants to destroy the world.
And you know what? Can I go on a tangent real quick? What I like about Ivy is she hates people like the way they do Raven in Teen Titans Go, where Raven hates everybody but really doesn't hate everybody. Like she has that soft spot in her heart, and that's what I love, and I cannot recommend it enough because you get to see King Shark in it too. Is the Harley Quinn animated series on HBO Max starring Haley Cuoco, of course, her as Penny from Big Bang Theory. She is fantastic as Harley Quinn. It would be really cool to see her in a live action version. Maybe we could, Flashpoint. Maybe we could. That would be really cool to see Haley dress up as and play Harley in live action in Flashpoint. But you're absolutely right. Everything about Harley Quinn in this movie, short of seeing her in the Jester costume, was the Harley Quinn that we've known and loved since the very first time she appeared in the Adventures of Batman animated series, to Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad right now in the comic books, New 52.
I mean, even actually the first iteration where like when they even right now, James Gunn's iteration of it, when she first enters the big airplane that they're in, she's dressed up in her New 52 costume for Suicide Squad.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
So I'm like, this is the Suicide Squad is what you get when someone who is dedicated to their craft, knows the source material, is in love with the source material, and wants to do the source material justice. This is what happens. And I get that a lot of fans look
at this man right here's costume. He has a penis on his head. I mean,
I know that. I get that a lot of fans right now, right, that have been that has no fucking clue what the comic books were and came into Suicide Squad because one, they love Margot Robbie, right? And they saw that as like, oh yeah, that's how it should be. Now, mofos, this is how it actually should be. Suicide Squad is a very depressing, very volatile, very incredibly funny romp going through the journeys of convicts with explosives in their head. And oh good God, the explosives in their head were freaking amazing, dude. Just everything. I gotta say too, just again, the color palettes through everything. When Harley is going through her manic phase of seeing the world in a crazier light, but a much more magnificent, colorful light. This is James Gunn at his best. Like the Suicide Squad is basically James Gunn film, which is basically a Guardians of the Galaxy film. But like this is like the culmination of all that into one, and how he matches all these themes together. Like you can't. This is a great fucking movie for me as a fan, as a longtime fan, man. And I love the fact that oh man, what's his name, dude? The 1 second, I'm trying to find the main character's names again, but he was in the first one. The lead lieutenant, he's in the freaking comics. Rick Flag, Rick Flag. I'm glad that they brought him back because he's a lot more well-rounded here. In the first one, he was just a naive grunt that was very much, just follow your orders, right? And to have him, it was there's a lot of themes in this movie, and one of the themes there was that you have Rick Flag, who is a general. Oh no, he was a soldier. He knew Bloodsport because they're in the same platoon together. And Peacemaker, who is your radical, super I can't say white supremacist, but he is a nationalist. He's definitely a nationalist, extreme, I think. A Zigonist, I think, or something, where it's country over everything, even if it's the death of many people, right? Or Jigo, I forgot. So when the inevitable clashing of ideologies between the two happen, right? It's an amazing thing. I did not expect that from a Suicide Squad film, especially with the first time where where Rick was captured by the by people. He was taken off to some far off desert, some jungle encampment, and of course we see the second Suicide Squad unit come just to kind of come and rescue him, and then you have this fucking beating of chest of both freaking Bloodsport and Peacemaker killing people one by one, trying to show up each other. Right? They get to the tent where he's in, and Rick's just there chilling, and then the head militia leader who is trying to revolt and trying to overthrow the dictatorship that's going on. She has a very pivotal line, goes, "It's very fucking American of you. You go in shooting people, killing people, and then when you see that these are the people that you're trying to save, it's very fucking American of you." And you see Rick there, who's just chilling, who is at this point the veteran, the war veteran, and he's a lot more rounded. He knows what's going on. He's a lot more. His heart's into it. He wants to help these people. You see it multiple times. He wants to help the people there, and that's what I fucking love about Rick Flag, because that's kind of who he was. Is. And so like the compare and contrast between Peacemaker and Rick Flag was freaking amazing. The compare and contrast of just like, oh my god, the compare and contrast of like who Bloodsport was, right? Or no, just the theme of family and the theme of wanting to be there for your family, and Bloodsport, and the amazing Daniela Melchior, who plays Ratcatcher #2. This girl right here, this amazing woman right here, who is great. For me the heart and soul of the fucking film, because she is of course thematically she is the viewer. We see through her eyes in a certain sense, and she is supposed to be the millennial. She's supposed to be a young person trying to come up and trying to hopefully save the world to a certain standard, right? And just this whole thing between her and Bloodsport, knowing that Bloodsport kind of sees her as her daughter, as like she resembles her daughter, his daughter, and that Bloodsport's and that Ratcatcher's history with her own father. And I remember the specific scene where they're in the bus, and that amazing song is playing from Jessie Reyes called Solas, and that she remarks about who her father really was. I don't have daddy issues. I love my father. And that we see Taika Waititi as Ratcatcher #1. You, sir, are correct. I thought Taika was going to be Weasel. He wasn't Weasel.
No, I always knew that that Ryan Gunn, I think it's Ryan Gunn.
I think so too.
Was going to play
no,
Weasel.
Sean Gunn.
I always knew that Sean Gunn was going to play Weasel. I thought Taika was King Shark, which of course we found out later is Sylvester Stallone.
I kind of knew that.
He's
fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was great as King Shark.
And friend, freaking him putting up freaking Ratcatcher into his mouth, about to eat her. That was freaking hilarious, dude.
I will say Taika as Ratcatcher, I did not see that coming, but that was pretty cool, and I'm glad that he got into one of many Marvel cameos in a DC movie. Did you catch the other one? The other Guardian that was in Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah. You're talking about Palm.
About Palm. She was a dancer in the bar that they.
That's right. She was the main dancer.
She's the front dancer. She's in the red. She's in, of course, Sylvester Stallone also is a original Guardian from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and supposedly might be coming back for Volume 3. Hey. And of course, Idris Elba played Heimdall. I know that John Cena, once he wraps the Peacemaker for HBO Max, is taking meetings with Marvel to make the jump. Rumor has it, Dwayne Johnson also, now that Black Adam has wrapped, and that the Shazam universe is going to be going a different direction, that he's also taking a meeting with Marvel. So there's some crossover. And also James Gunn making some news real quick. get some news and notes off of Suicide Squad. We do know the Peacemaker, I believe, has finished
Yep.
filming. It's post production. It's supposed to get a release on HBO Max early next year.
Mhm.
It is rumored that James Gunn, much like the Russos, would only come back to Marvel if they could do the Secret Wars. James Gunn said he'll come back to DC if he can film. You didn't see this coming. Justice League versus the Suicide
Suicide
Squad,
Squad.
causing
Wow.
causing the title of that book that came out as a miniseries about 3 or 4 years ago for
2 years ago.
DC.
2, 3.
Was it 2 years
Yeah.
ago? For number one of Justice League versus the Suicide Squad to jump in price today.
Mhm.
So, of course, who's in possession of Volume 1, Issue 1, Cover A? This guy. So, James Gunn, yeah, here's rooting for you.
Yeah.
You can make that movie.
It's gonna be insane.
There's talks about doing a Suicide Squad versus the Justice League down the road for the DCEU. Also, James Gunn flat out said, why not do a DC versus Marvel super movie?
The amalgamation chapters, the
I ain't gonna
amalgamation
lie,
issue.
it's been done a couple of times. And people are going like, wait, what are you talking about? Yes, actually, there was a massive crossover event back in the early 90s called, you guessed it, Marvel versus DC. It went back and forth. There was a 4-part miniseries. 2 of them were written from the main writers of DC. The other 2 were written from the main writers of Marvel. And it was a multiverse level event that ripped a tear in time and space. And yeah, you had fights everyone wanted to see, like Captain America versus Superman, which really and truly people were like, technically Superman should have been fighting Thor or Hulk.
I remember. I remember one specific issue. It was Shazam versus Thor. That one specific one, and then there was another one where
I thought it was Shazam versus Doctor Strange.
That wasn't another issue. The one that I think I have, if I remember correctly, it was Shazam versus, like, because there's a specific scene, right, that both of them prayed before they battled, and I always love that those panels of, like, you have Shazam on his knees praying to his gods while you have Thor praying to his father, and so that was an awesome scene for me. I think also in that same one we had Batman versus Wolverine, and then I think Superman was against Hulk, but it wasn't the average version of Hulk. It wasn't Joe Fixit Hulk. It was a weird one where it was Green Hulk, but he had his mind. He still had the same mind of Banner, but it wasn't Maestro. It was weird. So, but this was like back in the 90s, and the amalgamation stuff too. I'm hoping that is a thing. But just like, dude, James Gunn right now, like, his stock is gonna constantly go up because, like, dude, it's a fucking good movie. Again, Ratcatcher, probably the best thing out of the movie, and that is saying something because there's so many great fucking things in this movie. Again, we have to talk. Yeah, there were certain parts that did drag out a lot more. Granted, I think the last arc did drag out just a little bit longer. Yeah, I was hoping that Polka Dot Man, what I thought he was gonna be the saving grace of it, because they just shitted on him throughout the whole movie, right? And I was thinking, like, all right, cool. He's probably gonna be the Chekhov gun to the whole film, and inevitably destroy this guy. And it was looking like it until he was destroyed himself. But inevitably the Chekhov's gun was our very own Ratcatcher #2. So that was just freaking cool to see. But yeah, Harley Quinn.
Real quick too.
Great thing.
I have to put in the comments below if you guys. I mean, we talked about Justice League versus the Suicide Squad. What matchups in that matchup would you like to see? You know, Harley versus Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, maybe Deadshot. I'm sorry, Deadshot. Bloodsport versus Superman again.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back what JR said, yes.
Just let y'all know too. There is a video game coming out with Justice League versus Suicide Squad too. It's coming out next year from the same studio that made it's a Roman Reverse studio. They made Mortal Kombat, and they also made Justice League Injustice. So
Oh yeah, I know. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Oh, by the
yeah.
way, the wife is on board with Guardians of the Galaxy for the PlayStation. So guess who might be getting that game for Christmas this year? This
E-
guy. Real quick, the matchups that we were talking about. So this is the Marvel versus DC matchups. You're right. It's a like a kind of a Joe Cool, whatever you want to call it, a version of the
Yeah.
Hulk versus Superman. So Hulk versus Superman. It was Shazam versus a very weird version of Thor.
Thor. It was probably the long-haired one too, right?
It was long hair, got the
Yeah,
blue
the Rock one.
costume.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was the Rock one that's doing right now. Yeah.
Flash versus Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Namor versus Aquaman.
Aquaman. Yeah,
Robin versus Jubilee. Wonder
that's right.
Woman versus Storm.
That's
Spider-Man
right.
versus Superboy. Batman versus Captain America, not Iron Man
Oh,
versus Batman, which you would think.
okay.
And of course, the matchup of the century, Logan, Wolverine versus Lobo.
Was it? Oh, that's right. It was. Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
I
right. That's right.
remember getting it, and I actually had a copy of this book, and I lost it. I had my parents. I used to store my comics at my parents' office. They had a roof leak, and it landed on my comic books. Unfortunately, but fortunate for me, my brother's collection took the brunt of the hit. He lost a few books, but thankfully not the bulk of his collection. Same with mine. I had a great run of Superman books from like 92 to like 95, and I had Marvel versus DC, but my number one went missing. Thankfully, Javel had an extra copy and sold it to me for a reasonable price.
Hmm.
But very, very grateful for that. And
Oh
but I
yeah.
do
I remember.
remember seeing this
Yeah.
cover and seeing like, oh, these are cool
Yeah.
matchups, and then seeing
There
Wolverine versus
was.
Lobo, and I was like,
Yeah. There was
yes.
a bunch of scenes in there too that was really cool. I remember particularly, I think Thor lost his fight, I think, or that he lost Mjolnir, and then Wonder Woman picked up Mjolnir against Storm, and you see Wonder Woman in the same guise, right, of Thor with Mjolnir, and she like, and with Thor and Storm's like, "What the hell? You gonna fight me like that?" She goes, "No, I will." And then Wonder Woman drops Mjolnir and is like, "No, I will fight you as I am." I remember that particular scene. I think yeah, the
That's a hell of a
Quicksilver
matchup too, by the way.
yeah, the Quicksilver versus Flash one was just a mismatch. Yeah, Quicksilver was never be as fast as Flash. Like
No.
Quicksilver can run across continents. Flash can run across galaxies. Yeah,
Yeah. The only person who can match what Flash has for speed is Superman.
no, not even. Not
Well, I know. I mean, I know. I'm gonna say, but if
yeah,
there is someone who
yeah,
could match Flash's speed, the
close to it.
closest thing to
I
it
get it.
is
Yeah,
Superman's speed. Of course, we know that Superman, mostly in the movie universe with Christopher
yeah,
Reeve movies, that he was able to go spin Earth in reverse to reverse time,
yeah,
and theoretically, that's what
yeah.
Flash did
Technically would have
early
done. Yeah,
on in the comics, but it's
yeah.
now he actually rips his speed
It's
rips a tear
it's
in. Yeah.
it's stupid. The amount of strength that Barry Allen Flash has, or I think Wally West too, where there was one particular one where he was fighting where he was like in the center of the galaxy, and then no, the center of the universe, and he had to travel back to Earth to uh to beat the celestial god, right? And he says, and the god says that if you don't beat me in this, I'm gonna take over Earth. It's basically a speed test, right? And so Barry Allen Flash, I'm pretty sure it's Barry Allen Flash or Wally. It was either Barry Allen or Wally West. He told everybody on Earth in existence basically to jump, right, to run as fast as they can, because one of his powers is speed stealing. And so everyone either jumped or ran in a split second, and then that Flash took everyone's speed and beat the character there from the center of the universe to Earth. This is how fucking flat. This is how fast Flash is, and so it's stupid strength, stupid speed when it comes to DC. As much love as I got from Marvel, sometimes these crazy ass speed feats are so one-sided when it comes to like the older, like the Justice League higher ups, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Suicide Squad, beautiful fucking movie. Ratchet was
Absolutely.
fucking amazing. I hope she's in more stuff. Harley Quinn is the Harley Quinn that I fucking wanted for you very, very fucking long time. I hope they really do like lock her up for a multi-year, multi-contract deal,
She's taken a break from the role.
which
Margot
is great.
Robbie has said that she's taken a
Which is
break.
fine.
She's done. She said she kind of did the Harley Quinn trilogy, but she is open to coming back and doing
Yeah.
the role. And I think that she's kind of made it her own. She does kind of look like the current New 52 Harley
Yep.
Quinn, but can
Mhm.
easily act like the Harley Quinn that we saw in
Well,
the Adventures of Batman and stuff like that. So
yeah. It's
anyways,
great for her.
go see it, guys. It's totally worth it. Go see it in theater. Show James Gunn some love. If you don't feel comfortable going out there, we know with the rise of the Delta variant,
Mhm.
and whatnot, and all the stuff going on with COVID. Watch it at HBO Max. Show AT&T, Warner Media some love, and subscribe. There's a ton of content.
Yeah.
I think other than and again, I'm going to show my bias. Other than Disney Plus, but even then, I think that HBO Max probably has pound for pound the best value for a streaming service right now.
Yeah.
And just basically in the weight of The Big Bang Theory and Friends, two of
Oh
the
yeah.
biggest sitcoms of all time. On top of that, you have The Sopranos, which is one of the greatest TV shows that was ever made. You have Game of Thrones, which is massive, and of course you have the sequel, The House of Dragons, coming out next year.
Yep.
So HBO Max is totally worth
Yep.
it. So
I
real
will
quick
say,
though,
I will
wait,
say too, guys. Actually, too, if you have if you guys are, still living in the dark ages like most of us are, if you still have cable, and you have HBO, and you have the HBO channel, I'm pretty sure your provider can get you HBO Max.
oh yeah,
So there you go. We have HBO on my cable subscription for Spectrum. So Spectrum's like, yeah, you can definitely have HBO Max. And so there you go. You for all those who are listeners right now that are living in the States, right? I'm pretty sure if you have HBO, the TV, either I think HBO Go as well, but like HBO, the channel, you most likely have HBO Max. So
yes, I believe HBO Go has gone away. HBO Now
yeah.
was the, if you've got HBO, you can stream it away
Yep.
from home. But I
Mm-hmm.
think they've both merged now and have become HBO Max. JR is correct in saying that if you
Yep.
have like Spectrum, if you have HBO, if you're paying for HBO on Spectrum, you've
Yeah.
got HBO Max.
Yeah. Yeah.
So real quick, we'll let in on this on a flex pool. I know, JR, you're probably not ready for a comic book flex pool, but I did get some Funkos in the mail. I've got some more rolling in. We'll have ready hopefully by the end of this week. But this is one I ordered earlier.
I can't see this shit.
Well, JR, if you saw the box and how this showed up, this is how literally I didn't open it up. I know you can't.
I can't.
Like that's the way the box showed up
I
from
can't.
Amazon. So screw you, Jeff Bezos. I have had your back, but this is how you ship your shit. This is how you ship Funkos.
I can't watch this shit. If y'all know, what happened right now and with Funkos, I just fucking can't.
It was Agatha all along. That's right. I have right here Agatha Harkness, the official Funko, in her her purple mermaid costume. She's gonna go right there. She's gonna find her place right next to U.S. Agent and Baron Zemo and Bucky. I do have it's been back ordered a bazillion times. I do have multiple Captain Americas on order. One from Target, one's a Target exclusive, one is a Amazon exclusive. The Amazon exclusive doesn't come out till October. The Target exclusive has been delayed 5 times. I was supposed to get it in early June. I'm not going to get it till the end of August right now. I do also have some that are on order that will be here probably not until when we record next week. I think I have, let's see here.
As he's saying that, guys, I just want my last little tidbit going into this. Please stream Jessie Reyes Solas, man. Jessie Reyes is an amazing Canadian Mexican, Canadian Peruvian, if I remember correctly. She hails, her lineage hails from Latin America. So yeah, blows up. I hope she blows up, man. She has done feature of the Eminem in previous ones. She has already had like two CDs out. So please stream Sola. She was on a feature for the Suicide Squad. I think she did one of the main songs for it. So yeah, guys.
This is it almost looks like Lady Jane. This is from the What If Marvel Collector Corps box. This is from What If, post-apocalyptic Black Widow. So we're supposed to see, this is allegedly Natasha Romanoff in a new version, of Black Widow we have not seen, and as far as I know, voiced by Scarlett Johansson for the time being.
As far as we know.
Last but certainly not least, a Funko I didn't think I'd actually get. But it came in the What If box. By the way, also came with a cool sticker.
Fucking hate you. I fucking hate you.
It was the Star-Lord, the T'Challa Star-Lord sticker. It also came with a join us now kind of a victory movie poster from the 40s with Captain Carter and Hydra Stomper on it, which, by the way, Hydra Stomper, my oversized Funko, will be here next week, of course. And then it also came with a Captain Carter, a Captain Britain shield pin.
Come on, man, just show it already, dude. Just hearing you crumple that shit up is irritating the hell out of me, man.
No, it's the collector. The collector will make his reappearance, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, Benicio del Toro will reprise his role as the voice of the collector. And by the way, guys, we are just 2 days away as we record this. By the time we get this dropped, obviously, probably in some cases may have already aired. It's What If week. I cannot wait. We do know that we are getting the Captain Carter episode this week. And we don't have a runtime yet, but I think they're saying it's going to be between like 30 and 45 minutes. A far cry from what we were promised, which was a full-length feature animated film, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
But nonetheless, I can't wait. We do know now that What If will stand alone each individual episode will stand alone by itself, but is also a overarching connecting universe within the What If stories. And we do know now that what takes place in these What If stories is canon. We do know that now. The writers have come out and said that what takes place within this What If universe, it's exactly, JR, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. It is the What If comic books that were what if. They're theoretical that led to canonical events.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to, this is basically the Marvel Studios sprouting their seeds to see, what they can possibly do. What again, like we said before, when the multi-deal contracts were done with, right? The one that you could come on for like one episode or one movie or whatever. This is it. Like, this is the start of What If, where they're just putting out seeds and sprouts. Like, hey, you want to talk about, possibly Killmonger being in charge of, again, Wakanda, right? Yep. But he was the favored son, and you want to take that interpretation. All right, cool. Here you go. Here's an episode, or here is a full-on freaking movie that you'll do. Oh, hey, Marvel Zombies out again. You want to do a full-on movie with just freaking zombies of your favorite characters? All right, let's do that. Like, again, man, this is turning exactly like what the comics have been for years now, where yes, there are multiple realities that are happening in tandem, intersecting with our own timeline, with the mainline continuity timeline of Earth 616. So like, yeah, it makes sense to me. It absolutely makes sense to me. Everything's gonna be canon. Cool. So that means any freaking writer, any director, any crazed actor would want to jump into this and say, hey, I like this and this. Let me do it. So yeah, sure. Here you go. So we might legit have I'm freaking hoping. How crazy would it be to have a Deadpool with Blade, right, in the same universe with Wesley Snipes with Wesley Snipes Blade, with Ryan with Ryan not Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, right in Blade 3, I think, right? Ryan Reynolds
Oh,
played
that's
a
right, because
character.
he played a character in Blade 3. Now, there is talk, there are talk about this right now. They are in pre-production for Blade, and this is going to come up in a lot of JR's news and notes over the coming months, is they are in pre-production for Blade. So this movie is going to happen, and Wesley Snipes is waiting patiently by the phone. He's not holding his breath, but there's a possibility with the multiverse that we could see the original Daywalker make an appearance in the Mahershala Ali film,
Yeah.
or at least make an appearance in future iterations, maybe even in Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, because we do know with Wanda messing with the Darkhold, that does lead to vampires, and we know now also
everything.
We also do know that Mobius in Loki said that part of the multiverse, it has opened up. He's dealt with titans, vampires, so we do know that they're out there. So I think that'd be kind of cool. The options are endless. Heck, we could see Deadpool. We could see Ryan Reynolds Deadpool from Deadpool interact directly with Ryan Reynolds Deadpool from Wolverine Origins.
Yeah,
and maybe that will be a chance to kill him again.
That would be freaking, like, again, like it's insane. Like we are now in new territory for Marvel films, where a lot of it before with the Marvel films right now, previous, right, to this point, was very linear in a certain extent, right? Very, very, very linear. You knew the themes, you knew what you would expect, you knew what you're getting out of when you have a certain Marvel film. Now, with continuity being whatever the hell you want it to be, because multiverse, we can just we can literally have one universe where it's the Donny Cates Thanos run, where Thanos wins at the end of everything and he kills everybody by himself. So
let us know in the comments below what you would like to see in the multiverse. What character are you most looking forward to seeing in What If? What if would you like to see? Would you like to see a take from the old comic books? Is there a story arc that they have never tackled before in the comics that you'd like to see them tackle in this animated series? They've all but said there is already going to be a season 2 and could be a series that goes on for multiple seasons. So let us know in the comments below what you think. What would you like to see in What If? And what character are you most looking forward to seeing as the multiverse rips open in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this 2-part episode. It's season 1, the season 2 premiere. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking really forward to seeing what JR has in store for his writing over the next coming weeks. Next week will be a watch along of Black Widow.
Yeah.
And as we inch ever so closer, we will talk more about what we know about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And also, of course, join us midweek with What If. And then, of course, we'll take, depending on what happens after What If, it looks like right now we will not get a second show, or we won't get another show until November with the Hawkeye. So he is JR Cabacungan, the Dark King. At also not JR Comics 42. I am Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason 23, saying so long. Be nice to humans. Wear your damn masks and
support mom and pop shops.
Oh, by the way, big things happening this week. Huge thing happening this week. August 14th. August 14th. It's a big, huge day. Okay. In my personal life. It's a massive day. You know what it is? It's not what you think it is. It's Free Comic Book Day. That's right. Go out and support your local comic book store. Head on over to Desert Oasis Comics, Interstellar, and of course, Comic Asylum. They will be open at, I believe, 10 a.m. for Free Comic Book Day. We don't know what books they will have, but it's going to be kind of cool. Also, August 14th. Also, August 14th is my birthday. But anyways, at Voice of Reason 23, show your love, hit us up, and of course follow all of our social media platforms for the show. They're down in the description below, whether you're on YouTube or on the audio format. and click subscribe, 5-star rating. We won't bite. Yeah, thanks guys so much. And as always,
Peace.
peace.
Cool, man.